So welcome to the first lecture of performance management paper of ACCA. I am Anushka, Jain, CA and ACCA, and your mentor for the performance management paper of ACCA with VGLD. We'll start off with a round of introduction between us, with me starting off the introduction about myself, what I have done so far, for how many years I've been teaching. And I would request all of you to please tell me about your journey, where you are in terms of your professional journey, your educational journey, which city you belong to. Okay. So first of all, I am a chartered accountant. I qualified in 2017. And since then, I have been working with MNCs, starting off with Hindustan Coca-Cola, then Penorica India, and currently I'm working with Flipkart in Bengaluru. So I'm based out of Bangalore. And I qualified as an ACCA in 2020, January 2020, while I started it off in June 2019. So since I was a chartered accountant already, I had to appear for just the 4 strategic professional papers. And as luck would have it, I got world rank 2 and all India rank 1 in the advanced financial management paper of ACCA. So, and I was also a student of VGLD at that time. Post my qualification as an ACCA, I got associated with VGLD in 2020 about. And since then, I have been taking classes with them for 3 of their papers, and that is your advanced financial management, advanced performance management, and performance management. Okay. So, you are the most recent batch. So we currently rounded off the AFM batch for June 23 attempt. And I'm very proud to tell you, some of my students, they have also got world ranks. So in the last attempt, Vishal Pal, he got a world rank in the AFM paper, and I all India rank as well. So it has been a good journey so far, and I really, really want you to feel that it's a two-way class where you can share your doubts, your queries very easily, to make it interactive. Don't feel that my doubt may be silly, what the other person might think. It's a very open class. We'll, look at your doubts with an open mind, because all the students, they think differently. So it is appreciated you put across your doubts. If you have a different viewpoint than what I am saying, that is also perfectly welcome. Okay. So now let's start with your introduction one by one. I would request each one of you to please tell me about your journey, where you are from, how many papers you have done in ACCA, and if any one of you have attempted any of my prior classes, because I earlier used to take the business technology paper also. So if you have come via that route, you might have been one of my earlier students. So please tell me how it has been so far for you. Please use the chat box to share your introduction. Sincere request to please, it helps me to know where you are, how much educational background you have. It helps me to plan my classes better. Your name is coming as Regni 9A. I'm afraid you'll have to tell me your name separately, or you can change your name in the Zoom class. Your name is Meek. Okay. Okay, so what are you doing currently, Meek? Are you just studying, or you're working? And how many papers you have completed in the ACCA papers? You're only studying right now. Okay. Rhythm says, hi, my name is Rhythm. I'm from Ghaziabad. I'm currently pursuing BCom honors from Delhi University, and I'm in the 3rd year itself. She has got conditional exemptions for the first 4 exams and have cleared FR and FM till now. Okay. That's super. Yashu is in the 2nd year, BCom in Kolkata. Okay. Completed her knowledge level, and I had taken the BT class. Exactly, Yashu. The reason I mentioned about BT is that when I saw your name, I could remember that, you had, at least someone named Yashu had been a part of my classes. So welcome to the performance management paper. I'm glad to see you back. I'm sure you'll enjoy the journey here as well. I also gave my tax paper a few days back. Okay, that's superb. So in the recent June attempt, you have attempted for tax. Okay. Veena says, I have completed CA IPCC. That's great. So you would have got some exemptions, right, Veena? Aishwarya is also from Bangalore and she is doing BCom graduate. Sumita is, okay, Sumita, I think the name is Kamya. I'm working as CA intern, just enrolled for ACCA. Okay. Rhythm, recently cleared knowledge level and now looking for skill level classes. Great. Path is a BCom graduate and currently pursuing ACCA and have cleared FN paper from Pune. Varun says, I've completed 6 exams in ACCA. Recently cracked my FR exam and I'm from Batanda. Is there anyone from Punjab? Rhythm, you have got someone from Punjab. Rhythm, you have Varun from Batanda. Then Ajay says, my name is Ajay. I'm from Delhi and currently pursuing MCom. Okay. So as an ACCA, you were a fresher. Gaurav says, cleared BT, FA and FM. Recently appeared for FR. Right now I'm studying in BMCC College, Pune. Okay. Okay, Veena has got 7 paper exemption. Correct, because you have done CA Inter. Shreya says, hello, I'm from Delhi, graduated from Delhi University and working. This is my first ACCA exam and I got 4 exceptions. Great. Veena is currently residing in UK. So, Veena, does the timing suit you? So there is a 5-hour, 30 minutes gap between ours and theirs. So it would be quite early morning there, if I'm not wrong. Vinod is saying he's from Delhi, BCom honors and Delhi University. Okay. Anshu is based in Mohali. So we have some more from Punjab. Those who are looking for Punjab mates, you'll have a community. BCom graduated, 2 exams pending in skill level. I'm also working with Canadian accounting firm. That's nice. I'm Dabita. I'm from Bahrain. Okay. So we had a student from Bahrain in our last PM batch as well. His name was Gupta. So he cleared with some superb marks. He got some rank also, like in Bahrain. That's great. Okay, that's so interesting to know. We have such a diverse crowd among us from different parts of the country, and not just from the country, from the world, like from UK and from Bahrain. So it's nice to have that introduction because it gives me a perspective of how students are doing. So most of you, I understand, have some experience in ACCA, and some of you have. It's a first attempt for you. Since that is the scenario, I will be considering as if you are attempting an ACCA paper for the first time. Is there anyone who has attempted PM paper earlier and they flunked the paper and now they're taking coaching? Or is like all of you are doing it for the first time? Anyone who has failed earlier in PM and now they're back to, they're taking classes now? Anyone like that? Anshu has done it. Okay. It's all right. So Anshu is there. She has got some experience of the PM paper, but I'm sure with the type of the discussion we have, the type of practical experience I bring on board, because I have been in the finance and costing domain for so long. So the kind of insights and practical experience I will share with you, it will definitely give you an edge in the exam. And also the years of experience of coaching will help you, because I've been in touch with students for so many years. So definitely you will have a good time, and I'm sure the sessions are going to be really insightful for you. And I'll again repeat myself, the chat box is your place. Please use it to share your doubts and whatever you feel. If you want me to pause also. So if at a certain point of time the topic gets complicated and you want me to repeat it, Please feel free, ma'am. Please pause and repeat this. I couldn't follow you. Okay, so we want to keep the class paced for all the students combined, right? So let's begin. Give me one moment. I'll bring up my deck. Okay, so this is an introduction first to the performance management paper. And before we started off, let me tell you, you will need to buy the PR kit, the practice and revision kit from BPP. Please buy it for the latest edition. So two types of books are published by the ACCA approved publishers, that is BPP and Kaplan. Both of them publish books. But in our class, we are going to follow the BPP manuals. Okay, entire flow and entire discussion will be around BPP. See, both of them are approved by ACCA, so it's not like someone is better than the other. To maintain parity, we use BPP. It covers all the concepts, and you don't have to worry about going through both the books because the content is going to be more or less the same. Okay, few questions here and there might be different, but overall the content is going to be the same. So I'll tell you in the first class itself, please save yourself the trouble of going for multiple publications. Because if you are clear with the concept, only then you can clear your exams. It's not like the more you study, the better results you will get. It's all about the conceptual clarity. So if you are conceptually clear, you will definitely crack your exams. So please stick to the BPP practice and revision kit. That is what I'm going to follow. So yeah. BPP also publishes two books, okay? So there is one study kit and then other is the practice and revision kit. You do not even need to buy that study kit because I will be covering it in the spec itself. You know, I take reference from the study kit and it gets covered in its entirety here. So you can use your deck, which I'll be sharing with you. So this presentation which I gave here in the class, it will be shared across with you after the class is over. Okay, be it the presentation, and sometimes we also use Excel. Okay, and one more important thing, please log in through your laptop. If you are watching on a mobile phone or an iPad, the class will not be as useful to you as if you were doing it on a laptop. I'll tell you why. So I'm sure you know that ACCA exams are on computers. You'll not be doing it on a pen or paper mode. It's a computer-based examination. So we try to keep everything on the internet, on the laptops. Why? Because you get habituated with it. So in the entire practice, the solving part of numerical questions, I'll not even use calculator. Let me tell you. You are free to take calculator in the exam, but because even I have been working on Excel for so long, the speed increases when you are practicing on Excel itself. You know, I have stopped using calculator since my CA days. The day I cleared CA exam, that was the last time I used calculator. Since then, it has been always Excel, even for the smallest calculations, because that's how quick we become in Excel with so many years of working on it. So I would request each one of you, be it's your first exam, be it it's your repeat exam, be it like if you have already done ACC, but at that time you did not use your laptops, I am indifferent to it. It's a sincere request. Please make sure you log into the classes from your laptops. Okay, I'll be giving you some exercises to practice and you will need Excel for that. Okay, so coming back, I was saying, so it will be a laptop based exam. So first thing is to use your Excel and Word also. Wherever you need to draft your answers, you can do it in your Word file and then share it in the chat So it will be, I'll be reviewing your answers in the process. Okay. So coming back, I had started off with telling you that the study kit will be covered in the slides, and you will be you'll be purchasing your PR kit for the BPP publications. And some few, frequently asked questions I'm just trying to address. Are you allowed to carry calculator to exam? Yes, you are. It should not be, having the capacity to store text. It shouldn't have that memory function. Your basic M plus, M minus function, which is there in the calculator, that is normal. So there are some calculators which allow you to save memory for long strings of data. That is not allowed. You can use your normal calculator. Okay, that is one. And I think let's just start with the flow, and whatever questions I'll get in my mind, I'll answer it. And if you have some doubts, please, you can use the chat box. I'll address it right away. Okay. So let's quickly begin it. Introduction to the performance management paper. 1 minute. Yeah. So what is the overall aim of the syllabus? So you need to know now what you are going to study. You know about the subject name, but what is the content of the syllabus? That's very important. So it's like a very brief outliner of what the syllabus lies ahead of you. The aim of the syllabus is to develop knowledge and skills in the application of management accounting techniques. So anyone who has already attempted the management accounting paper at the knowledge level, anyone who has come through the knowledge level route, yes, you have done it, yes. So this syllabus, it derives the content from the management accounting paper. So basically at the knowledge level, you have the management accounting paper, and then you have the performance management paper, which will help you to build the foundation for the advanced performance management paper. So we'll be doing I take up both of these papers. So once you're done with it, and hopefully you qualify, definitely we'll see each other again at the APM level also. Okay. So this paper, it wants you to apply the techniques, management accounting techniques, to quantitative, basically dealing with numbers, and qualitative. Qualitative is your content-based information for planning, decision-making, performance evaluation, and control. Okay. So you will be involved in planning activities, what the company should do. So when you are doing this paper of performance management, assume yourselves to be in the shoes of a management accountant in the company. Okay, like as if you are working there and you are applying your skills to help the company make some important decisions. Decision making, performance evaluation. Someone has done something and you are supposed to evaluate whether he has done it right, whether it is at par, whether it is of the right quality and expectations, and control. PM is the middle exam of the management accounting section of the qualification structure. Management accounting concerns just techniques, and APM thinks strategically. So performance management, it lies in between of management accounting and APM. Management accounting is more or less about the techniques, whereas APM, it will give you a strategic direction. So my idea will be to give you the insights of both the papers. So if you have not come from the knowledge level, don't worry that we will have some assumed knowledge, because I'll tell you very frankly, ACCA content, it relies heavily on assumed knowledge, that you already know something. But in my class, I assume that all of you are taking this, you're directly in the skill route. You have not gone through the management accounting paper. So I'll be covering each and every topic in detail, nothing assumed. So you'll get an explanation of all the topics. Okay. So my idea will be to give you that assumed knowledge also, which is expected out of you, that you already know this. I'll be explaining it to you, and also to prepare you for the next level. That strategic thinking, which is necessary for the strategic professional level also. That also I'll try to build your foundation for that. So APM thinks strategically and considers environmental factors. PM requires you to be able to apply techniques and think about their impact on the organization. Okay, so you have to, actually imagine yourselves that you are in some big company making some big decisions. Only then you will, actually get the feel of the paper. So the entire content I'm telling you, it is very, very, practical oriented. So it will really help you in your career. Okay. So tell me one thing, all of you, why are you doing this paper? I mean, this ACCA exam, why are you taking it up? What do you plan for? Where do you think this exam ACCA will be helping you? Is it like everyone is doing it, so I'll do it, my friends are doing it, I'll do it? Or do you have some reason behind taking up this course? What is your calling? How do you think ACCA will help you? Let's see, I've got some answers. Yeshu wants to go abroad and work and eventually do something on my own, which will help me. Meet says it's an alternative to CA. Path wants to learn about finance, taxation, audit fields, etc. Shreya says, good boost of knowledge and will help me in my job. Sumita says, entry for abroad. Anshu says, to be professional in accounting, and Aishwarya says, career growth. Okay. So see, I asked one question and I got so many different types of answers that why each one of you are doing ACCA. Some of you want to move abroad. Okay. Some of you want to do it as a boost for your existing career path. So I'll tell you, it is a very good choice of paper. It is so practical oriented. See, that is the reason I've picked up this conversation. It is so much related to the reality. See, I have also been working in MNC, so I can see it. I can tell you from my experience, the type of knowledge you get here, it's not some bookish knowledge. You will learn so many things, and it's not just about studying. So yesterday only I was having one conversation with my colleague, and I was telling them that I cleared CA about 6 years back, and more or less, I'll not remember 50% of the content I studied there. But the grit and the hard work, handling multiple things at a time, multiple subjects, going through that vast syllabus, completing it. So all of that journey, it's developed me in a way to, function in such a big corporate setup. It's not just about the content, because after a certain point of time, your degree doesn't matter as much as your experience and your caliber does. So this degree, it will prepare you for that. It's similar with ACCA. So the content is so practical and relatable that you will feel yourself. You'll not even realize, but in a way you will get molded to take up the exposure in the corporate world. So it's going to be really interesting with all the examples I would be sharing, and it will definitely help you in your career growth. And yes, ACCA is recognized in more than 180 countries in the world. So as a CA, you can practice in India, right? You can work in India. As an ACCA, you can work in across the world. It gives you the license to practice as an accountant in so many countries. So I'll tell you very frankly, it's not like only if you want to move abroad, you should be taking up ACCA. The thing is, if you are a CA, but you are working in an international domain, you have some international clients in your work, or you want to learn about international practices. So I'll tell you my reason for doing ACCA. It was not to move abroad. Okay. So I got a lot of offers when I cleared my paper. I got a lot of offers from Dubai. I got it from Singapore, and handsome salaries. I'll tell you very frankly. But my intent was never to move out of the country. I wanted to be in India. But the thing is, the type of, the framework the syllabus has, the spectrum of things, the practicality of this paper, that is what attracted me to it. And I wanted to learn about international practices. That is the reason I took up ACCA, and it definitely helped me grow in my career. So there could be multiple reasons, and I'm sure if you are here in this journey, you will realize it from now on that you have made the right decision. Okay. So yeah, so I'll also briefly take some of your time to explain to you. So someone said that it is an alternative to CA. Okay. Some people say that it is easier than CA. It's not like that, frankly. I'll tell you, having done both the courses, the only difference is that ACCA is very flexible. Okay. So in CA, you have to attempt all the papers in the group together. Okay. All of them you have to attempt in one sitting. 4 papers are there in one group. You have to attempt it in the same period. So if you're attempting your exam in May, you have to attempt all the 4 papers. If you're attempting for one group, if you're attempting for 2 groups, you have to appear for all the 8 papers in one sitting. But with ACCA, it is quite flexible. So you can appear for 1 paper in your one sitting. You can appear for 2 papers in one attempt. So since we are going to be preparing for the September 23 attempt, you can choose to appear for 2 papers. You can choose to appear for 3 papers. They have left this flexibility at the student's end. They are not imposing you have to appear. Okay. So you get that flexibility of doing it together with work also. So like when I appeared for my exams, I was working full time. So how I did it, in my first attempt, I gave the exam for AFM paper. I appeared for 1 exam, that is AFM. And at that time itself, I got that world rank. Then, I'll tell you very frankly, what helped me the most was my practical experience. The type of work I was doing, it helped me in my exams also. So that is one paper. That is in June. Then came September, I attempted 2 papers. And that is strategic business reporting and strategic business leadership. 2 papers I attempted in 1 attempt. Okay. And then came December 2019, I gave my APM paper. So that was within 3 attempts, I could qualify as an ACCA. That is the type of flexibility I had. I was prepared. I was having time for just 1 paper, I gave 1. I could make time for 2 papers, I did it. So the flexibility is in your hands. And also another type of flexibility is that there is no aggregate concept. So I'll tell you what happens in CA is that you have to secure minimum 40% marks in each of the papers. And in all the papers of the group combined, you need 50% marks. So you do not have to qualify just in your single paper, but overall level also you need to get aggregate 50% marks. In ACCA, it's not like that. It doesn't matter what you're getting in the other paper. It's just this paper and you need to get 50% marks. The pass percentage is also very high. Okay, so there is no aggregation. You do not need to club your marks with the other papers to see how you have performed overall. 1 paper at a time. Okay, so a lot of students ask me, ma'am, can I appear for 2 papers? Yes, you are free to do it. It's all on your, dedication, how much time you can devote to studies. That is what is going to help you to decide. Because anytime I get a question like that, I ask them, what are you doing? Are you working? Are you just studying? How much time can you study in a day? I tell you, some students, they do not have the caliber to study for 10 hours, 14 hours at a stretch. Some students can do it. So it's just a mixed crowd. You have to decide for yourself what suits you the best. So if you are doing 1 paper, it's absolutely fine. Take your time. Don't rush into things. You have to be fair to yourself and to your knowledge that, yeah, I can take this much, I will appear for this much. So it's fine, 1 paper, 2 papers, leaving it to your discretion. But the best thing what I feel you have done is that you have decided to take classes. Once you have taken the classes now, then your conceptual clarity is always already there. It's just that you need to now implement it while you are practicing questions. You do not need to worry about I could not understand this topic. Where do I get understanding of this knowledge? That part is sorted and that gets taken care of in the class itself. When you have taken the classes, all you have to do is just to implement the knowledge at the time of practice of questions. Okay. So that is about, so as I told you, I'll keep on briefing you about the commonly asked things as and when I remember it. So this is one thing, how many papers or what you should do. I believe this gives you some perspective. Okay, coming back. So you are at this level now, and this is the overall hierarchy of the paper in the ACCA. Now this slide, the exam. Very, very important slide. This slide should be imprinted in your mind. Okay. So, see, the applied skill exams, they are all computer-based exams. Okay. So, you'll be working on your computer to solve the papers. What is the approach to examining? Okay. There is no choice in the exam. It's all the questions are mandatory. All questions have to be answered. You must therefore study the entire syllabus. There are no shortcuts. Entire syllabus needs to be covered. So there are going to be 3 sections in your exam. Section A, B and C. Section A, it will have all MCQ questions. Multiple choice types of questions. Here we call them as objective test. You have to select from some options. How many questions will be there? 15 questions will be there, and each one of the questions will carry 2 marks. Okay, 15 objective test questions, each one of them carrying 2 marks. That adds up to 30 marks. Okay. Section B. Again, this is also objective test. You don't have to write theory, anything. It's objective test. There will be some options from which you have to pick up your answers. Okay. So how many questions will be there? 3. And each of these 3 questions will carry 10 marks. So total adds up to 30. But please remember this 10 marks now, each question, it will have 5 questions. So basically, if in section B, question number 1 is there, that question number 1 will have 5 subparts to it. Okay, objective test, 5 subparts, and each one of them will carry 2 marks. Okay, so 5 questions into 2 marks each, that is 10. Adds up to 30. 3 questions overall. So there will be some scenario given to you. And on that scenario, 5 questions will be there. So 3 scenarios, 5 questions, each for 2 marks. So each question is for 10 marks. Total in section B is 30 marks. Then comes section C. Section C is your constructed response. Here you have to write. Okay, constructed response, and 2 questions will be there. Each one of them will carry 20 marks. So 40 marks. Yeah, these are subjective questions. You have to practically write your solution. It will not be choice question. You have to draft your proper answers. That is how you get 40 marks. Okay. So that adds up to how many? 100 marks. The total is 100, and you have 3 hours for the exam. Okay. 3 hours for all the 3 sections. Okay. So 3 hours means what? 180 minutes. And you've got 100 marks. I'll tell you this next thing which I'm going to say now. It's super useful. Students have really thanked me, ma'am. You made it clear from the first day. 180 minutes translates to 100 marks. How much does it translate into 1 mark? 1.8 minutes per mark. Follow this rule in exam. Students now, they know everything. I've seen students, they'll come and tell me, ma'am, the paper was so easy. I knew everything, it was discussed in the class, nothing new came in the paper. But ma'am, I did not manage my time well. You know what happens? You take so much time into, when the exam starts, you are like, like in a flow, you're writing your answers, and then time passes by. Time is very crucial. You need to be on your toes right from the first moment. That I will allot 1.8 minute maximum per mark. So if there is a question, it is consuming more time, I need to get past it. I can't let it eat away the marks from my remaining questions. I have to be fair to all the questions. I need to give them their fair share of time and try to attempt all the questions. I'm telling you, if you are appearing for, you only tell me the answer. Now it's a question for you. You're attempting for 70 marks. What would be your probability to get 50 out of 70? Versus you attempted 100 marks with 90% confidence that, yeah, more or less 90% of my answers will be correct. That confidence and your expectation or your probability to get 50 marks, which one will be high? Which one will be high? You attempt only for 70 marks and you think you're going to get 50 out of it. You attempt for 100 marks with a 90% confidence and your probability to get 50. Which one will be suitable for you in exam? But 70 marks, you have 100% confidence what I'm writing is correct. See, all of you are telling me 100 marks. Okay? It's very logical. If you are attempting for 100 marks, your probability to pass pass the exam increases manifold. So remember it, even when you are practicing questions now, do it in a time-bound manner. That this question is for 2 marks, maximum I can give it is what, 3.5 minutes or 3 minutes. Just to be a little conservative so that your mind remains alert and active. So about 3 minutes for a 2-mark question, 3.5 minutes. And if you're not able to solve it, move fast. Don't think that, no, I have to complete this first, then only I move to the next. Make it very clear to yourself that you are going to attempt all the questions in a time-bound manner. Okay? There is no negative marking. Yes, Vinod, there is no negative marking. So you should make sure you are attempting each one of them. If you're not going to be negatively marked, what's stopping you from taking any option? Okay? So, and that also I'm not saying that, time is not left. Randomly, Jai Mata Di, just keep on pushing buttons. No, I'm not saying you to do that. Give each question their due time, attempt it, so that situation also doesn't arise. That by the end of the exam, you know that you have done more or less all the questions. Whichever question you could not do, if you get some time saved at the end, you can come back to it. Alright? And you can view that now I have completed most of the questions. Now let's review the questions where I was doubtful. Okay, I'll read it again. If I make any change in my mind, I'll do it later on. But you have to follow this strictly. Do not devote a lot of time to just one question. Devote it as per its requirement. If you're not able to solve it in that time, move on. Later on, if you're able to save time, you can come back and solve it again. Okay? So that should be your approach, because the syllabus is vast and the exams also, they tend to be a little longer. So if you do not manage your time, it will be very difficult to pass your exam. Okay? So as I said, there are 3 sections in the paper. Section A, B, C. A will have 15 questions of 2 marks each. B, again, objective test question, 3 questions of 10 marks each. And how is this 10 marks going to be distributed? 5 questions of 2 marks each. And last is section C. Section C is constructed response question. It will be just 2 questions, but each one of them will carry 20 marks. So that gives you 40. Okay. I'll tell you, students, they find A and B pretty fine. Pretty simple. That, ma'am, yeah, it has to be selected from the options. We can do it. They tell me even on the last of the days, ma'am, I'm not being able to attempt the longer questions. Can you tell me some hint? There is no hint. You have to be conceptually clear. You need to know that your knowledge should be like that. If you have to explain something, you should be able to explain it also. It's not like just ticking boxes. It should be your ability to explain stuff. So when you are studying with me and I'm explaining some theory or some practical thing, make sure you're clear about it, because it is possible it could come, it could get tested in the constructed response paper. Okay, so be very, very clear in that. This 40 marks, it is also very important, because just by attempting 60 marks, you will not be able to pass the exam. You need to attempt and be good at the 40 marks question, right? The section C questions also. Any doubts in the slide so far? Anything that you have a doubt in, please let me know. Anything you want to share? So part the thing is, we recommend using the chat box functionality, because the recording happens now and it gets a little confusing for the students who see it in the recording. So that's why I recommend please use the chat box. I will read out your doubt, okay, whatever you type it, and I'll address it. So the students who are even watching the recorded lectures are able to understand what the discussion is going on. And if you're not able to understand, we can have follow-on questions. So you'll realize that, like, when we go on, you'll be at ease. Don't worry. We recommend to use the chat box functionality. Okay, Par? Others, any question? Can I move to the next slide? And I'm sure, so if you have registered yourselves, please make sure you get added to the subject group. There is a PM WhatsApp group. If you have already been added, well and good. And if you have registered but still not added, please contact Sandeep. He will add you to the group, because we take up the doubts also in the group. You know, if you have some doubt, be it respect to the subject or be it to any course content, you're not able to understand a question, you can post your questions in that group, and I'll also be there in that group. So sometimes students, if other students know it, they address it. If I'm there, I'll address it. So make sure you are a part of the WhatsApp group, everyone. Okay, if you have registered, make sure Sandeep adds you in that group. You can contact him and ask him to add you. Okay. Now, very, very important. It's perfectly put in. I mean, it is intentionally put in this slide, that right from the first day, you know what are the skills you need to be successful in the exam. So exam success skills, how you can prepare yourself. Right from the first day, you need to know that you have to have these capabilities to pass the exam. You need to develop it. Okay, so what are the exam success skills? Let's discuss it. Number one is managing information. So the exam will be, as I said, pretty long. You will be presented with a lot of questions. Okay, lot of information will be covered in those questions. B and C, as I told you, they'll be scenario based. You have to assume yourself to be in that, be a part of that company. Sorry. You have to assume yourself to be a part of that company, whereby you have to give some decision so that they can further act on it. The skill is how you handle this information to make the best use of your time. The key is determining how you will approach the exam and then actively reading the questions. Make reading your habit from the first day. You have to read a lot in the exam, so make sure you are focused when you are reading questions. So how do you develop that skill, managing so much information? So the exam is 3 hours long. We are very clear in it. There is no designated reading time. So you'll be given the paper right from the first minute, and you can start attempting it. So it's not like 10-15 minutes will first give you for reading, then you have to attempt the exam. No, there is no reading time. You can directly start writing the exam. However, One approach that can work well is to start the exam by spending 10 to 15 minutes carefully reading through all the questions to familiarize yourself with the exam. So I'll tell you what the statement is saying. You are presented with the exam. And one approach is that you immediately start off with the first question. Okay, section A question, first question, 15 questions are going to be there. You go serially. Another approach could be that you skim through all the questions, not to read it in detail, but get a sense of what all topics have been tested. Be it in section B, be it in section C also. A, B or C, any section. You skim through the questions to know what topics have been tested. If you are super confident in any one topic and you just look at the question and you know this is the answer, I've practiced it or something like that, you can immediately tick off that question or write the answer to that question. Okay? So this approach you can use, that in the 10-15 minutes, you skim through the questions, you understand what the paper is going to test you for. This you can do. Carefully skimming through all the questions. Once you feel familiar with the exam, consider the order in which you will attempt the questions. Always attempt them in your order of preference. See, it is a computer-based exam. It's not like you have to worry that you're writing question number 9 first, then you're writing question number 2, then you're writing question number 10, you're writing question number 21. It doesn't matter. It's a computer-based exam. So you can attempt the question in any order like you want it. You can skim through the questions. I'll show you how the exam is going to look like. So I'll show you how you can skim through the questions. And wherever you feel that, this is my best topic, I'm like super clear in this one, attempt that particular question first. Okay? So attempt the questions in your order of preference. For example, you may want to leave the last question you consider to be the most difficult. Okay? So whatever the difficult questions are, you keep it towards the end. That is how your approach should be. 10-15 minutes you devote to just skimming through the question paper. When you have understood what the question paper contains, what the content is going to be like, you can then start on solving those questions which you feel you are super confident in. That is the approach. Active reading. You must take an active approach to reading each question in section C. What is drafting long answers? So in section C questions in particular, focus on the requirement first. I will make sure you develop this habit even while you are doing section B questions. Because once you have read the requirement is the last bit of the question. Okay, where you are directly given, you have to solve for this. Make sure you read the requirement first and then come to reading the exhibit, the story, the scenario which will be given to you. Why is it recommended? The reason is, once you have read the requirement, first, your mind becomes alert and active that this topic is going to be asked later on. When you read the exhibit, your mind automatically starts registering the information you will need to answer that requirement. I hope I'm clear. I'll repeat myself. What it says is, read the requirement first and then come back to reading the exhibit. See, normally the flow of the question is going to be like, first they will give you the exhibit and then they will give you the requirements. But what you have to do is you read the requirement first. Read it, then you go back to reading the exhibit so that when you read the exhibit, you know what is going to be tested. Okay, so at this point, I think I should show you what the question paper looks like. I'll present to you, even you will have access to this. Just 1 second. Everyone do it along with me, okay? I'm presenting my Google screen. Make sure you also do the same as what I'm doing here in your Google screen. What you have to do, go to accaglobal.com. Okay, please do it alongside me and let me know if you're getting left behind. Open accaglobal.com. Let me know if many have opened it. Ping me a yes that you have opened accaglobal.com. Done? Okay. Then you click on this. See, hover over this section now, students. Do it alongside me. I'm telling you where you can access question papers. Hover over students and then you click on study support resources. Study support resources and then you click on ACCA qualification. I hope all of you are doing it alongside me. Click on ACCA qualification. Let me know if you want me to repeat any step, okay? I'm waiting. Confirm if you have reached to this place. Rhythm is done. Others? Done? Okay, let me know how if you get left behind. I'll repeat the step. Then you have to click on performance management. And come down. Scroll down. Then you come over past exam and question practice. Look at this part, huh? Past exam and question practice. Let me know when you can see it. Click on this past exam and question practice. And then you click on login to the practice platform. Click on this. Then what you can do now is to bookmark this page so that you don't have to, follow all these long steps to land here. Once you bookmark this, you will be directly able to come on this page. You will not have to follow so many steps. Just bookmark it by pressing on the star. Okay. So here you need to enter your ACCA ID. All of you would have got this ID. Enter your password and then click on sign in to my ACCA. Please let me know when you're done. Everyone just confirm if you have reached till here. Very important. It's necessary that you know about this. Rhythm is done. Others? Please let me know if you have reached the screen I'm showing you. Gaurav is done. If anyone is stuck at any step, let me know. I will repeat myself. Done? Okay. Then all of these tabs will open here. What you have to do? You have to go to performance management. Okay. And then you have to click on ACCA official resources. And then you need to click on past exam library. So all of any particular paper, all of them contains question papers only. So past exam library. And then let's open the latest paper which is available, and that is your September-December 22 paper. Assign yourself. Let me know when you're done. Assign yourself the September-December 22 paper. Is it done? Have you assigned yourself? Done? Okay. And then you come here. So I have opened multiple papers. So it's showing me so many tabs. If you're doing it for the first time, there will be just one tab for you. So click on this PM past and practice exams. And then you click on this. It will be start button for you. All right. So I've already opened it before. It is showing me resume. You would be seeing a start button. So click on this resume. Okay. So you would be seeing a different screen. Wait a minute. So you'll be seeing some instruction screens. Let me. Let's do one thing. Let's just come back for the time. This only has section C questions because it is a past question paper now. So they don't release questions from section A and section B. They only give the questions for section C here. So come back. Let's see another paper where you will have section A and section B questions also. You can just click on the back button. Okay. Same approach. You click on performance management and then you click on ACC official resources and then you click on practice exams. Okay. Assign yourself the first practice exam, PM practice exam 1. Okay. Let me know when you have done it. We're not doing the past exam, we are doing the practice exam. Practice exam, PM practice exam 1. Assign yourself, and then if you come down, you can start the paper here. So this type of a screen will come up for you. Are you able to see it? Right? Whether man is able to see it, others? Okay. Great. So you'll see this page where you're given introduction of the exam. Then you click on next. Next. All of these instructions will be there. I'll be explaining it to you later, not at this point of time. My intent is to show you how the exam paper looks like. Next. Next. See, whatever I told you, it's given here also, exam summary. Time allowed. This exam is not timed. This practice exam is not timed, but in reality, your exams will be for 3 hours. Section A will have 15 objective test questions, each worth 2 marks. Section B will have 3 questions, each one of them having a scenario which will relate to 5 objective test questions carrying 2 marks each. I had summarized in that table whatever is written here. Then section C, it will have 2 constructed response questions. Okay, I'll just excuse myself for a minute and come back now. Just one moment. Yeah. So section C, it will have 2 constructed response questions and each question will be worth 20 marks. Okay, it's a total 40 marks and all questions are compulsory. So they are giving you the exam summary which you already know now. Click on next. Click on yes here. So that is section A. Let us see how the paper looks like. Click on next. See, this is the question. This is question number 1. Okay. See, you can see it here also. Question number 1 of question number 34. How many questions will be total there? See, 15 questions in section A. Then total, let's just see here, I'll show you navigator. So you can click on navigator, you will see it here. Section A, it has got how many? 15 questions. Section B, how many questions will be there? How many questions will be there in section B? There were 3 questions, right? And then here you can see until it goes until section question number 30, because there are how many questions? 3 questions. Each one of them have got 5 sub questions under it. So you get total 15. And then in section C, see, the number of questions is not fixed in section C. Total there will be 2 scenarios, each one of them containing 20 marks. But how these 20 marks will be distributed, that is not directly given. So for this paper, it came in terms of 4 questions. So have a look. Section C, question number 31. It is on jungle company. Okay. Then if I just click on next here, and I'll have to scroll down and then click on next. See, this is question number 32. This is with a different scenario. So that jungle company question. 1 minute. So you need to scroll down only, then it allows you to move back. This jungle company question, only 1 question. It was for 20 marks. It is not, given as the schema that section C questions will be distributed into these many sub questions. Like it is clear enough for section B, it is not clear for section C. It can be any type of a distribution. So the first constructive response question is 1 question is carrying 20 marks. Okay. And then if you click here next, see this question is on CSC company. This whole scenario is given to you. Okay. It's a long one. Set question number A, that is sub-part 1 of the last question. That is carrying your 6 marks. Okay. Then you click on next. Same scenario, nothing new will be mentioned here. Okay, CSC company, same information. See that graph and all, it's the same here. Now it is part B. Discuss whether CSC company should reach the agreement. This is carrying 4 marks. So 6 first, 4 second, and if you click on next now, see, this 10 marks were gone. Here, this part C has now got more 3 subparts. That is how it is. There will be no clear demarcation of how many questions will come under constructive response. They can break it down into as many parts as they want to. So this part, it has got 3 subparts to it. Subpart 1, subpart 2, subpart 3, and they carry 4, 2 and 4 marks. Total adds up to 20 marks. And scenario is same. Say this section of the scenario relates to requirement. It should ideally be C. They have not given that. But A, B and C, all 3 of them are based on the same scenario C. So I hope you are getting an idea of how section C questions look like. They can carry as many marks. There could be subparts, there could not be subparts. Okay, there could be more subparts to the subparts. So they keep it open-ended. Section C questions, they are open-ended, and that is how they look like. Okay. So as I was telling you, how many questions are there? You can see it here. So section A has got 15 questions, right? Section B has got 15 questions. That is still question number 13. And section C, although 2 scenarios are there are 4 questions. So normally it would be 4 only, but they are at the liberty to make it 6 also. If they want to break down that scenario into multiple questions. See, my personal preference is to have more subparts. I'll tell you why. Because see, that jungle company question, it was for 20 marks, right? To score 20 marks from one question, it becomes a little bit challenging. Whereas if you have more subparts to it, you can address the specific requirement of each subpart properly and get the 2 marks, 4 marks, however how much is allotted for it. So it becomes a little simpler if there are more subparts. If there is just one question of 20 marks, it becomes a little challenging. You have to keep your mind open. What all you can write to get those marks. Okay. So I was telling you, you have to read a lot. See, this is the type of length you get. So this is just one scenario which is applicable for 3 questions. In the same way, if you look at the jungle company question, again, look at the length of this question. Just one exhibit. Jungle. This is the type of information. See, you have to read so much. You have to retain so much in your mind. So this is the reason where we started off showing you this paper when I said you read the requirement first. So what is the requirement? This is what I mean by requirement. Read this first. Discuss the financial and non-financial performance of Jungle Company for the year ending 31st August 2016. Now when you read the question, your mind is alert. What is tested? You have to write about the financial and non-financial performance of the company. So when you are reading the exhibit now, it will be better. Otherwise, you would have read the exhibit as a story that this is what Jungle Company does, this is what it has done. You read like a story. But now when you have read the requirement first, you know what has been asked. So you read the exhibit keeping that question in mind. Okay. So make sure you read the requirement first. I tell this to all my students, be it any subject, because ACCA has, always provided a lot of information in the questions. So if you read it, there will be a lot of additional information also, which might not be useful for you. So if you have read the requirement, you know exactly what you have to look for when you are reading the exhibit. So I'll tell you more scenarios with respect to this. What happens is sometimes the exhibit, it might come similar to what you have already studied. Something like in the same lines what you would have practiced in the PR kit. So students become very happy. Oh my God, I've got a common question. But beware, what happens now? The requirement, it is just turned around completely. So if you have practiced a question, you feel that, oh wow, I just looked at it right before the exam. Now I'm going to, close my eyes, write the answer, whatever I've seen just before entering the exam hall. If you do not read the requirement properly and you are writing something else, okay, then you'll not get marks. It's not like you just have to fill pages. You have to address the requirement properly. So this was the requirement for question number 31. In the same way, if I just scroll down to question number 34. See, these are all requirements. Explain what the line labeled, blah, 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 this means, explain how, explain what a slack value is. So once you have read all these requirements and then you come to reading the exhibit, it just makes your mind alert that this is what I need to address. So I should mark up the important things. So you can highlight, for example, this. So you find something important, you can just highlight it right at the time of reading the exhibit. It's not like then first you read the exhibit, then you read the question, then you again read the exhibit. I'm sure reading exhibits, all of you realize, will take a lot of time. If you have read the requirement first, you will save that time. Okay. So this is how the question paper section C is going to look like. And I was also showing you question number 1. Let me first scroll it down. Question number 1. So yeah, this you have to just select an answer from the multiple choice. Okay, let me be very clear. It's not always selecting an option. Maybe in some cases you have to write a number here. So what is the total number of units which must be made and sold to make a profit of 45,000? So let us say I'm writing 6,700. I don't know what the answer is. I'm writing a random number for the timing. I'm writing 6,700 units. I just press next and then move on. See, again, here also I have to write in terms of a number. What is the favorable material yield variance? You have to write the number here. So let us say it is 5,400. Then you click on next. Here you have to select from options. You know, there could be different types of questions. Here also you have to select and see which of the 3 E's is the value for money framework. So in some questions, you might have to select just one option. In some questions, you might have to select 2 also. So it will always be highlighted. If nothing is mentioned, obviously, you just have to select one. Which of the following techniques is not relevant to target cost? So you'll select which one is applicable. So this is how the question flow is like. I hope you are getting an idea. I'm just skimming past it. Now see, this is a different type of question. Here, you have to write yes or no. Yes, here, you can obviously select both. So I've done like that. Yes and no. Indicate by clicking on the relevant boxes in the table below whether each of the following is a slack resource. Whether labor time is a slack? No. Whether machine time is a slack? Yes. So you'll be learning what all these terms mean. That is the separate thing, but I'm sure you're getting an idea of how the question paper is looking like. Yes or no, you might have just to select 2 boxes. Okay. So is it clear? You want me to show anything more here? Are you getting a feel of how it is going to look like? See here, you have to select from a drop down. They're not given as an option, but they've given it as a drop down. You have to select something from that drop down list. Let's say I'm selecting 19.8. Here again, it is any one you have to select. Next. Again, a drop down. So are you able to follow me? Did you understand? Any doubts you have with respect to the question format? What is the requirement? Why do I need to read the requirement first? Is that all clear? Anything you want to ask me? Is it fine? Can I come back to the slide if you have understood? And I'm hoping all of you would have bookmarked the practice platform, because I'm going to ask you a lot of times to practice from there. Okay, so make sure you would have bookmarked the practice platform. So let's come back to the slide. Okay, I'll show you section B questions also. Wait, I did not show you. I just showed you section A and C. Let me show you section B questions also. See, section B question. Again, I was telling you now, there will be a lot of data. See, this is question number and question from section B. This is the scenario which is given to you. This is the requirement. So as I was telling you now, read the requirement first. If you read it now, if Milo adopts a maximum approach to decision making, which daily supply level will he choose? See, it is an objective test question. You have to input a number. Okay. So for answering this, now you read the exhibit. Again, if I click on next, the same scenario will be given here. Scenario doesn't change. The requirement changes. Here, the requirement is to select from these options. So there will be 5 questions based on just one scenario, which is Milo. Click on next. Same scenario, different question. Here, see, which 2 of the following statements. So how many options will you select? 2. Then third, this was the third question. Fourth question. What is the maximum amount? Same scenario, nothing will change here. Fourth question. See, now next, 5th question. Again, true, false type of a question. True, false, false, true. This is the way you'll have to select. So if you have read the requirement and then you come here, it's better, always. Maybe sometimes you might even not need to read the requirement for a true, false question. Just saying. So you can save your time like that. And now if I click on next now, so this you might see a lot of times. What you have to do now, just scroll. Wherever there is a scroll bar, just come to the bottom part of it. And then click on next. See, now there is a new scenario. Pathway. The next 5 questions will be based on this scenario. There will be total 3 scenarios in section B, 2 scenarios in section C, and 15 different types of questions in section A. Is it clear? So let us come back now to the slide. So I've shown you how each one of the sections questions look like, section A, B, and C. And I hope now you realize the importance of reading the requirement first. Make sure you read the requirement first and then come to the exhibit so that your mind becomes alert that this is what is expected of me. I should read the exhibit properly and at this point. Okay. Making a note of key verbs such as explain. Remember when I was reading out the questions, I was calling out again, explain, explain, explain. So these are known as exam verbs. What does the question want you to do? Does it want you to just explain? Does it want you to discuss? So that is also very important. You need to be clear what is expected of you. You are just, so some questions might just say calculate. So will you go and explain something over there? No. If they're asking you to calculate, explanation of that point will not get you marks. Calculation only will get you marks. If some question is asking you to explain and you to start doing some calculation, you will not get marks. Maybe supporting calculation you might do to write something in the explanation part, but what will get you marks is the explanation. How well you're able to address the requirement. That is really, really important. Focus on the question verbs. So just to show you once again, have a look here. So these are all selected questions. I just show it to you in the constructive response questions. Here, see, calculate. This is the question verb. This is the question verb. Assuming that CSC company keeps its agreement with Encompass Health, calculate the shortage of beta. Now, will you start explaining some things here? No. You just calculate. And see, as I was telling you, you will be given with something like an Excel screen for writing your answers. So this is how it looks like. Okay. In the same way, if I just show it to you a different type of question. So here the question was calculate. In the same way, let me show you question number 34. Here, what are the question verbs? Explain. Explain. So here you have to give explanation. Here also it is explain. So identifying the question verb is also very important. If you start doing something else which is not even required of you, you will not get marks. So you have to be very clear, you address the requirements properly. Okay. Coming back. So we'll come to that. Good question. So Parth is asking, ma'am, what is the exact difference between explain and discuss? I'll take that up. Just giving you a brief idea now, but we'll definitely, it's an important question which will be addressed. So key verbs such as explain and discuss to ensure you answer the question properly. Then read the rest of the question, making notes on important and relevant information you think you will need to answer that requirement. Okay. So correct interpretation. So as we are saying again and again, the approach should be dependent on what is asked. What is the question verb, whether it is explain, discuss, or calculate. So just to give you a brief idea, what is the difference between explain? So explain and discuss. So explain will require you to explain some concept, talk about some concept so that so here's what I do in the class. I am explaining things to you. This concept. So there is some Anthony's hierarchy. Okay, there's a concept which is there in your syllabus, Anthony's hierarchy. I am explaining that hierarchy. So I will, write about the contents, what all are the components of the Anthony's hierarchy, what it means. Okay, so you're explaining things. Discuss. What could you discuss? The pros, the cons, the application of Anthony's hierarchy. That will be discussion. Discussion means you already know about something that you don't have to do again, because it's asking you to discuss. So that is assumed you know about the meaning, the explanation of the Anthony's hierarchy. Discuss is you're talking about it further. What is Anthony's hierarchy? You know. Discuss it now. What are the true pros, cons, application, limitations? So that type of discussion you need to make. If the question verb is discuss, if the question verb is explain, you just need to explain what is Anthony's hierarchy. If the question verb is discuss the pros and cons, then you need to talk about the pros and cons. So you learn more about it, as I was saying. When the questions come, you'll learn more about it. But just to give you a brief idea, what is discuss versus explain, this is what it means. Okay. So discussion assumes that you know about something, you're talking more about it. Okay, it is important to identify and use the verb to define your approach. The correct interpretation of the requirement skill means correctly producing only what is being asked for by a requirement. Anything not required will not earn marks. I'm repeating this. Even the slide says it. If you are not asked something, like I was telling you, you saw a common question, you got very happy and you start writing without even looking at the requirement, you'll not get marks if it is not addressing the requirement. Make sure whatever you write addresses the requirement properly. Okay, don't write what you know, write what is asked. That's very, very important. So advice on developing the correct interpretation of the requirements. So what you have to do? Read the requirements first. Firstly, read the requirement a couple of times slowly and carefully and highlight the active verbs. Like I was highlighting the explain, calculate, so like that you can also highlight. Use active verbs to define what you plan to do. Make sure you identify any sub-requirements. So it is asking you to explain and then there is sub-requirement. You should highlight it. Okay. Then read rest of the question. By reading the requirement first, you will have an idea of what you are looking out for as you read through the case overview and exhibits. This is a great time saver and means you don't end up having to read the whole question twice. I told you now, like if you read the question first, then you come to the requirement, then you realize, was this covered in the exhibit? And then you read the exhibit again. That should not be the case. Read the requirement first so that you know this is asked. Highlight that part in the exhibit directly. Okay, that should be your approach. Is it clear? I hope you understood the reason why I'm asking you to read the requirement first and then read the exhibit. Now you read the requirement again. Okay, because to remind yourself what is that question verb, what is exactly the requirement so that I answer only what is asked. So read the requirement again to remind yourself of the exact wording before starting to write your answer. This will capture any interpretation of the requirements or any missed requirements entirely. See, I'll tell you what happens practically. When you read the requirement first, you feel what is it saying? You might not even understand the requirement properly in the first attempt when you're reading it without reading the exhibits. But now when you have read the exhibit, the requirement will make more sense. Okay. So again, you should read the requirement. This should become a habit in your approach, and with repeated practice, you will find the focus, relevance, and depth of your answer plan will improve. Because if you are writing well, your depth should be nice, relevance of the answer should be there. So all of those check boxes, it needs to be there in your answer, and that will come only with practice. Now, even in class, we are going to follow this approach that we read the requirement first and then we come to exhibit and then we read the requirement again. So make sure I also follow it. Sometimes even I start reading the exhibit first. So it's your job to correct me if I'm reading the exhibit first without reading the requirement. Okay. Make it a habit in the class itself. We read the requirement first, then the exhibit, and then the requirement. All right. Next skill which you need to have to succeed in the exam is numerical analysis. Okay. So you need to be good with basic maths and some practical knowledge. Okay. that how you would want to address the requirement. So we'll be doing a lot of question practice in classes also. So what the intent would be to tell you how to present your answer. See, if you are doing section A and B questions, there is no marks for presentation. You just have to write something, you just have to select something. But in section C, there you have to present your answer, you have to lay out the answer. So if you're writing in a haphazard manner that no one understands, only you will understand, you will not get marks. The idea is to make sure the examiner, the person who is going to give you marks, understands. Okay, so you should lay out your answer in a proper way. All of that I'll be showing you. So I'll be showing you how the model answer looks like, what you can write. So that is very important, because what happens now, sometimes you feel I have understood it, that's my job, but that's not your job. You have to make sure the person who is reading your answer understand from where you got a particular number. That is why I will, when the time comes, I'll show you to link things in Excel, not to hard code a number. Don't do the calculations in calculator and then you hard punch a number in Excel. I'll not allow that. You have to link your calculations in Excel itself so that anyone who reads your answer knows, oh, he got this answer from this calculation. He got this answer from this calculation. So all of it will be linked. And I'm telling you, these things is what captures the attention of the examiner. It gives you those brownie marks. So your numerical analysis, it needs to be fantastic the way you're presenting your answer. This is more or less applicable for section C answers. Section A and B is more like I've shown you already. Objective test. You have to select an option. You just have to hard code a number. Then you can do it. Do the calculations in a calculator and punch your number there. But in section C, I'll not allow. Why? Because it is very important the examiner understands from where you have got that particular number. He will not have access to your calculator now. So that will not be possible. Okay. So how do we develop this numerical skill? So let's just see. It will be more or less, I have already covered it. Use a standard pro forma working where relevant. Okay, so what it means is more or so relevant in your variance analysis chapter. So I'll show you one format. And I'm telling you, it's like such a time saver. Students love that. So there is this one format. You input your numbers in that table, you will get all your answers. So use that pro forma. Pro forma means what? Standard. Standard working wherever you can, so that the answers look methodical, that they're coming in a flow. It's not happening, randomly from here you got some number, here you got some number. It should not be like that. It should be methodically done. Okay. So use the standard template for answering wherever possible. So we'll be covering that in our classes. Show your workings. I told you, the examiner doesn't have access to your calculator. He'll not come and ask you what you did on your calculator. No. So you need to show your workings. Okay. And more so, if there is some detailed working. So let me give you an example. Just 1 second. Let me first open it. To show you something. This is one sample answer. It's from chapter 6. Okay. So this is the way we solve in class. Okay. So I'll be solving the practical questions in Excel. So for example, this. There were some few requirements here. Question number 1, question number 2, and question number 3, and then question number 4. So you will see that the workings, now dentist hours available. So I showed it. He will be working 8 hours in a day for 5 days in a week for 50 weeks in a year, and there are going to be 3 dentists. So I'm showing this work. Now I've done the calculation, same thing. 8 into 5 into 50 into 3. I've done it in a cell. So instead of writing all of this, I simply do it like this. You tell me the difference. Writing this much versus writing explanation also. So show your workings. What are you thinking when you are solving something? Okay. Also, there can be a scenario. I could not get the relevant question, I mean, in this time. Maybe when it comes, I'll show you. So what I'm trying to say is, sometimes there are some numbers which require calculations before also. Some supporting working before you arrive at this number. Okay. So something like that is there. What you should do is, show that working here. Working notes 1. You solve whatever is needed here. I'm designing random things here. So you do the calculation 5 into 6, 5 into 5 here. And then you come and link it from the working and you write here that it is coming from note number 1. So when you do things like that, when you have done the detailed working in a note and you're using its result somewhere else, write it, reference, note 1. So I'll show you when such a question comes. I could not find it. I was looking for it. But I hope you're getting an idea. So if there is a supporting calculation you're doing it at the bottom, give a reference to it, note 1, and then you come back and write your answer. Okay. So I just delete this. There is intentionally, I'm telling you all of this in the first class itself, so that when we really start off with our practice, you know how you can, prepare yourselves better. If I tell you in the last class, right before the exam, see, I could have told you in the last class, write it in this format. But that time, all your practice time would be gone. So if you're clear from the very first day, what are the skills you need to pass the exam? Because all of us know we are sitting here to pass the exam. We're not sitting here to do some yarn. We are doing it. We need to learn and then pass the exam also. So these skills you need to be aware of right from the first day. Okay. So you need to show your workings. Those dentists, all of that I wrote. So when the examiner, when he reads it, he understands. Right? Then step 3 is keep moving. Remember I told you, don't get stuck somewhere. If you are feeling that this question is consuming a lot of time, I'm not able to solve, doesn't mean you'll fight with that question. Move on. You gave it the necessary time, you could not solve it, don't sacrifice the time from other questions. Move on from it for the time being. Later, if overall time permits you, you can revisit the question. But if you just keep on banging your head on just one question, no, I'll get it right, how can I not solve it? That should not be your approach. Give it the necessary time. If you're able to solve it, well and good. But if you're not, move on to the next question. Are we clear? Absolutely clear? Any doubt? Ma'am, I did not used to prepare workings. Ma'am, I get stuck. Anything, please share your thoughts if there is anything. Or if there's nothing, let me know. I'll move on to the next slide. Do we have to get a photocopy of your notes? So Meet, I will be sharing across the PDF versions with you all, and Excel I will share in Excel only so that you can understand the linking and everything. So it's up to you. If you can study from your laptop, you can view the PDF versions and study from the laptop. And Excel, obviously, please use Excel. Don't get printout of Excel, because that's the purpose of sharing Excel files, is so that you can understand the linkings. So presentation you will get in PDF if you want to print, because a lot of students now, they feel that it's better to read from physical notes than to study from the laptop. So if you want to actually view from physical, you can take a printout. If you want to watch it on your laptop, you can view it as a PDF. Okay. I hope I've answered your question. So Excel and presentation both you will get after the completion of that relevant chapter. I will share it across with VGLD team, who will then forward it to you in your shared drive. You'll get the shared drive access from where you can download it. Gaurav is asking, can I use study text for the year 2021? Gaurav, I suggest not. because the reference of question numbers will change, even the topics undergo change. So I would recommend you purchase, see, that is why I just recommended purchase one book, because the study kit I'm completing, I'm going to cover it completely in the slides. So you need not need to buy it. But PR kit, I would request each one of you to please purchase the latest version. Otherwise, no, I'll be saying some question number, you will be referring it to some other question. The question numbers change. And also some topics come as additional, some topics get deleted. So that is the reason I'm suggesting you please use the latest version. Everyone. Okay. Okay. Next exam success skill is to work on your presentation skills. I hope you just saw the answer I presented to you. I had done some coloring and all, that's some cosmetics I have put on that question. You need not color your answers. But if you just look at the answer, see, when you're presenting well, your eyes feel soothing now. That it's very methodically given, dentist hours available, and the calculations are done in tabular format. So it becomes easier to follow. If you do randomly here and there, so it doesn't look good for the examiner. Make sure you work on your presentation skills. And I'll tell you, I'm a little finicky about it. So I'll always tell you, follow this format and everything. Because presentation, and I'm telling you from this practical experience now, is presentation matters a lot. When you are presenting to the leaders, so we have presentations with the CFO and everyone, I can't give them everything. I have to tell them what is relevant for them. And I have to tell them in a structured format. So that format bit, it matters a lot. Presentation skills matter a lot in reality also. Make sure you follow it. Okay, so presentation, we'll be practicing along now. I'll be showing you the formats, the model answer. So likewise, see if you can see, question number 4 here. So this is a theory question, so it's just having content. See this. This one is pretty basic. No cosmetics here. Pretty basic. This is what is expected of you in exam. So all of this you will learn alongside when you're doing the classes, when the relevant questions come. See, this is the type of basic bare minimum you need to make sure you get the marks. No cosmetics here, like simply writing it, but what you have to write, that should be here from the files. So that is what was covered in the next exam success skill. See, here in this deck, I can only tell you what all is needed, but you will be able to actually learn it with practice. When you are regular in the class, you actually see things, how the answers are to be presented. Then only you'll be able to imbibe it in your answers. I tell you, you have to write good answers. Everyone wants to write good answers. Who wants to write bad answers? But how it is to be written, that you will learn only through practice. Okay. So step 1 is to use headings. What are you solving for? Give that in bold or underline it. Okay. So using the headings and subheadings from your answer plan will give your answer structure, order, and logic. This will ensure your answer links back to the requirement and is clearly signposted. Signposted meaning what? You're making it prominent. The heading should not be hidden. It should be prominent that, yeah, this is the heading. It should be in bold. It should be underlined, right? Making it easier for the marker to understand the different points you are making. Underlining your headings will also help the marker. Marker meaning the person who is giving you the marks, examiner. So in your mind, you should be clear. Whom are you writing for, yourself or for the examiner? For the examiner. To make sure he understands it. Your job is to explain it to him. His job is to understand from your answer. Okay. Write your answers in short but full sentences. Very important. See, you are studying a professional course. You're not doing some normal, diploma or something like that. You're doing a professional course. So your answers should reflect that professionalism. You don't have to write long paragraphs. I'll be repeating this a lot of time. In fact, a very, very important exam skill. See, at this point of time, you'll be thinking that exam is after 3 months. Why am I being told about this now? The intent is, if you know about it from the first day, you prepare yourself in that way. So your answers now, make sure you follow this rule. So your book answers, when you will be getting the PR kit and you'll be seeing the answers now, you'll be seeing the right very long answers, which is obvious. See, they are book publishers. They will write all the possible things in that answer. But as a student, it is not expected from you that you write answers of that length or of that depth. So there will be some, toning down of that answer. How it is to be toned down, very important tip I'm telling you. So what you should do, 2 sentences per mark. So remember that question of 20 marks, Jungle Company question number 31, I showed you. That one question was for 20 marks. So how many sentences I should be writing? 40. Maximum I'm saying 40, or maybe let's just say 40 to 50 sentences. And those sentences, should be short. Don't write story in one sentence. It should be short, crisp. And I'll tell you, like for your corporate career also, when you're writing emails now, make sure the length of your sentences doesn't go beyond 15 words. If you're making such big sentences now, the person who is reading it loses the flow. Your sentences should be simple and they should be conveying the right point. Don't write long answers, long paragraphs. It's not like you have to fill papers. You have to convey the right point. Okay? So write in short, crisp sentences and write new points in your each sentence. So, giving you an example. My name is Anushka Jain. Sentence number 1. Next line I am writing. I am known by the name of Anushka Jain. Sentence number 2. Sentence number 3. People call me Anushka Jain. I hope you are understanding what I am trying to say. Each sentence is just bringing out the same thing, that I am Anushka. That should not be how your answers should be looking like. That you write active voice, passive voice in your answers. Convey different things. Each point that you're making should have a relevant argument in it. Relevance should be there. You're not supposed to fill up the answer script because examiners know what students do. So I'm telling you right from the first day, get rid of these childish habits. Don't do this in your professional exams. So see, that's what written here. Use short, punchy sentences with the aim that every sentence should say something different and generate marks. Each sentence should convey something. Write in full sentences, okay? Don't write in bullet points. Anushka Jain. That's my answer. No. Your answer should be in full sentence. You are writing a professional exam. Do you expect the CEO of a company to understand from your bullet points? No. Short sentences, but crisp ones. And it should be in full. Know English properly. See, it is an English exam. Your English skills should be good. The person who would be evaluating most probably would be someone of a foreign origin. So make sure your English writing skills are good. The spelling mistakes, some of them they happen when you're typing now, and you are also working in an time constrained manner. Spelling mistakes might happen, but the grammar out of it should come properly. It should not be like he's left to think, oh my god, what is he saying? Examiner will not even give you that much time. You just move past your answer, he'll not give you marks for it. So it's your job that you practice in English, write your answers properly in full sentences with full good grammar. Sentence formation should be fine. Don't write in bullet points or short sentences. So if I'm saying crisp, you just write in bullet points. No. It should be full sentences and should convey the right message. Okay. Next is do your calculations first and explanation second. It means that questions they often ask for an explanation with suitable calculations such as materiality. The best sorry, the best approach is to prepare the calculation first. And whatever numbers you are going to use in your answer now. So what will happen sometimes, I'll tell you. There might be an explanation required for the calculation. So in that case, do the calculation first and then you draft your answer. So when you do this, you already know what the calculations are, you're just explaining it. So that is what is written. The best approach is to prepare the calculation first, but present it on the bottom half of the page of your answer or on the next page. Then add the explanation before the calculation. Performing the calculation first should enable you to explain what you have done. So you will be able to interpret the calculation better. So always make sure you are doing your calculations first. Okay. So that is all about the exam success skills and the introduction to the paper. Right? Anything you want to ask? Any doubts you are getting in your mind? Are you able to follow me? Okay, so if you feel that somewhere I moved little fast, please let me know. We can cover it again, not a problem. But make sure you're following everything, because I'm a person who will just talk about the relevant things and normally don't tend to brag about things. I'll tell you very, simply what is expected, what is not expected. Sometimes I'll just tell you this is not relevant, ignore it. So that type of, wavelength match should be there between us. If you feel sometime that Pamela is going too fast, I wanted to repeat this, you can tell me. It's a very open-ended class. You are free to ask me doubts or share your answers. Anything from so far what we have discussed that you are not able to digest, something feels off, is it fine? Take your moment, it's okay. If you wanted to revisit anything, just let me know. Anything at all, feel free. So Gaurav is saying, I'll read out this out, everyone listen. Is there any similarity between FM and PM? Difference, if any? Like for FM, was known to us that major 3 syllabus area will be covered. Which 3 syllabus area are covered in PM in depth? Because I find section C very interesting than the other 2 sections. Very good point, Gaurav. So yes, you are right. There are going to be syllabus areas. I'll tell you when that comes, that these few chapters are important for section C. Okay. So I'll tell it to you when the time comes. Or if you all have your books handy, I can tell it to you now. Or I would suggest that I tell it to you when the chapter comes, so that you also become alert that yeah, this one is more relevant for section. Okay, so I'll tell you the question, the chapter names and numbering I follow, I keep it constant with BPT. So if you ever feel stuck now, this chapter, is it the same as in BPT? Don't worry, I will follow the same chronology also. So it becomes easier for you to relate. So when the chapters come, there are a few chapters which are more important for section C. When those chapters come, I'll let you. Okay. So similarity, and yeah, so commenting on his other ask was similarity between FM and PM. Topic wise, no similarity. They're pretty different. But your base of calculations, your mathematical skills, your practical skills, they are constant between both the papers, PM and FM. Okay. Topic wise, no similarity. Difference would be, so the focus of performance management will be more on, performance evaluation, decision making on the basis of performance evaluation, whether, the type of work the company has done, the type of work the managers have done. So evaluating all of that. So it is like a performance management. You're using some techniques to evaluate the business or the people. Whereas in finance, it's pretty straightforward. You work on financial instruments and different types of sources of finance. What is the cost of capital? So all of those other topics. Here you'll not see something like that. It's more about evaluation of performance. Okay. Then part says this PM slightly tilted towards theory or more of a practical, like do we need to remember a lot of stuff like in a theory paper? Good question. So, part, I'll say it is a mix of both. No tilting anywhere. You'll have a mix. Theory also and practical also. Both of them are there. Your another question is, do I need to remember a lot of things? So I'll tell you, there are going to be a few topics. Models will be there more or less. It's not very difficult, but I'll tell you, make a new sheet, new worksheet at your end. Whenever we are covering a model, add that sheet, add a new worksheet in that Excel workbook for that model. So like I was telling you, Anthony's hierarchy. So it is going to be a small model concept. If you put it in that summary workbook, which you are going to prepare, I'm telling you, you'll have to work on this, because when you work on it, your mind becomes very streamlined, that these all are the models I will need to refer to before exam. Okay, so it's not like you'll have to learn things like what are the advantages, number 1, number 2, number 3. No, concepts you might have to remember, and that too I will keep on telling you, add this thing in your summary workbook, because you will need to look at those concepts before exam, and if you don't do it, it might become a little difficult to recall. Conceptually it will be easy, it's just that you sometimes have to recall the names now, that becomes challenging. So for that, I'll tell each one of you when we start with the content, proper syllabus areas, make sure you make a summary tab for yourself, summary workbook, where you keep on adding sheets for specific models I'll tell you about, or if you feel something you want to add on your own, it's your workbook, you can add it. That is the type of approach we are going to keep. So it's a mix of theory and practical, some calculation, some theory also. Do I need to memorize a lot of stuff? No. Conceptually, you'll have to remember things, because they'll not ask you to explain Anthony's hierarchy. They will ask you to apply that hierarchy in the question scenario. So you need to know what that question, how you're going to apply it, how it is applicable in the scenario. So that part is going to be more relevant. And of course, the nomenclature of models you need to remember. What are the constituents of the Anthony's hierarchy, for example? So that you need to remember. Okay. I hope I've answered your doubt part. How much time one should give for revision? So I would suggest, if you're doing it alongside the classes, I'll tell you the approach which you all should follow. What we'll be doing is, we are going to do the classes. I'm going to use the presentations like this, which I'm presenting to you. I have got chapter-wise presentations. So I'll be using those presentations in the class. And after, completion of a few chapters, let's say 2, 3 chapters are done, I'll give you some series of questions which you'll have to practice from the PR kit. Okay. So what you should be doing is attend the classes regularly. So it will be a weekend class, Saturday, Sunday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. to 2:30 maximum. 2 to 2:30 p.m. is what our timings would be. And we'll give a 20-minute break in between. So during this time, you are learning new concepts. What you should do later on during the week is to revise these concepts. I'll tell you, there are a lot of small topics in BM. If you do not revise, you will just lose track of things. So make sure when you're attending the classes, you go back and go back to the notes at home also. It's not like only classes will help you. Your devotion, your dedication is also equally important. Okay. So what you should be doing, attend the classes, revisit the slides, and if there are some homework questions which I'm going to give from the PR kit, that you will have to practice. So all of this will go alongside the classes, which are going to span across 2 months. So we'll have about 20 lectures, about 4 hours each. So that will go on. So 20 lectures will mean what? 2 months approximately. So that's much time we'll be consuming in classes. But during the interim, you'll have to keep on working on it. Otherwise, you'll forget. If you think that I will wait for first the classes to get over and then I will start revising, That will not happen. It will not help you. You have to be revising together with the classes, and when the classes are over, so you will get, very easily 2 weeks before the exam, for just your own time, that you are visiting the lectures or visiting the class notes or visiting the PR kit questions. You will get that time. So at that time, it should be like a second round of revision. First round of revision should be together with the classes. Okay, so those will be 2 rounds of revision, and third round of revision, it will be like a very fast one, only revisiting the difficult topics. That will be right before the exam. Okay, that is the type of approach you need to keep. And one more very important thing I'm telling now is, you have loads of questions in the PR kit. Okay, loads. I'm telling you, hundreds of questions are there in the PR kit. And if you feel that you'll be able to do all of them again and again with every revision, it's going to be a little challenging. I'll not say it is impossible. It becomes challenging to practice all the questions again, right? So what you should be doing is, first time when you are doing it now, when I'll be giving it to you as homework, at that time now, make sure you start highlighting the difficult questions. Some will be very simple. Some will be repetitive also. Question number 5, question number 9, they might be on the same lines. So those you ignore. And you keep on marking those questions which you would want to do again in the second revision. Highlight the topics which you could not understand. When you read the question first correctly, right? That you read the question, you could not even understand what it was asking. That type of a difficulty is there. Highlight those questions in a different color. That before exam, I need to revisit this question, otherwise I'll not be able to answer. So make sure you develop it right from the first day when we start off, even from the deck, right? There will be some questions for practice, right? We are going to do in the class. So some questions might be difficult. So you highlight those questions, you write them somewhere, that these are the questions I need to revisit again. These are difficult ones, or these are good questions. So when I say a good question, it means it covers a lot of topics in the best possible manner. Those questions which are the prime of the topic. So those questions you should always highlight, that I will revisit it. It will help me to practice all the concepts again. Make sure you follow that approach. I'm telling you these tips right from the first class. It will really help you in your preparation. Question practice, keep on marking the questions. These are difficult ones. I'm not able to solve. I'll do it again. I'll practice it again. I'll understand them. Okay. When should we order the revision kit? Meet, please order it right after today's class. Get in touch with Sandeep. He will help you with the books. So Sandeep from VGLD, please contact with him. I'll tell the number once again. Sandeep's number. Please note down 9599983116. He is going to help you with the books. Make sure each one of you have a copy of the PR kit to yourself. I'm repeating the number 9599983116. Okay, you need to get in touch with him for the books. He will help you. Is it okay? Neat? Understood? And everyone, make sure you order the latest copy. We'll be using that and the question references, which will be easy if you follow the same. All right. So let's just do one thing. It's 12:08 now. Let's take a 20-minute break and catch up at about 12:30. Okay. Yeah, Parth. You'll get approximately 2 weeks to yourself, where you can do your own practice. And then what I do now, I keep one doubt class before the exam, so that during this self-study time, if you're getting some doubts, you can note it. And I'll keep that doubt class before the exam, so that all your doubts get cleared. You have done all your self-study, you're done with the syllabus properly, and then you can have that doubt class, and then you can sit for the exam. Okay? So 2 weeks approximately, easily you will get. Let's take a small break now. We'll catch up at 12:30. Okay? Eat something, refresh yourself, and then come back. We'll see you after the break. Hello everyone, welcome back from the break. I hope all of you have joined back. Let's start the first chapter of the syllabus. Give me one moment, I'll bring up the deck. So that is chapter number 1, managing information. Okay. I hope all of you are there. Can we start? Are you able to hear me? Please let me know. Okay, great. Then let's start it. So roles and benefits of information system. So we hear this term time and again, information system. Have you heard it in your life before? What is an information system? Be it in school, be it at work. Have you heard about information system? What do you understand by it? Can you explain me or give me an example of an information system? So information system, let's first read what the slide says and then we'll discuss about it. So an information system is a combination of hardware, software, and communications capability where information is collected, processed, and stored. Think about your laptop which you are using. Does it satisfy the definition of information system? An information system is a combination of hardware. Your laptop has a hardware, you can feel it, touch it. Software. So maybe you are using an application called Zoom now. You are using softwares on your different softwares on your laptop. And communications capability. When you are attending my class today, are you communicating with me? Does it have a communication capability? Yes, it does. Because you are able to see me, you are able to hear me. You can also talk, you can also type, right? So, does it satisfy the definition of information system? Yes. Where information is collected, you can store information on your laptops, right? You can process it. You can collect information. So basically, you can get information from Google, or you can use the. So, for example, when I share the text, you can collect information on your laptop, right? You can process it. Maybe you want to make some changes to the text and store it. You can store it for future consumption. So, information system is a combination of, now you keeping your laptop in mind. Now read the definition again. An information system is a combination of hardware, software, and communications capability where information is collected, processed, and stored. So at a broad level, we can say that even laptop is an information system. The title of this exam is Performance Management, Management Accounting, and Information Systems play a vital role in performance management because they provide the information that managers use as a basis for planning, control, decision making, and measuring performance. So I told you at the beginning, right? What are you going to learn in this subject? And that is how to plan, how to control, take decisions, and measure performance, evaluate performance. So that is where information systems play a key role because you are going to need information to be able to take informed decisions, right? So information systems and performance management, they go hand in hand. If there is no information system, you will not be able to do any of these things. The planning, the control, the decision making. It will not be possible without having an information system where you are having the necessary information. Why are information systems needed? Most organizations rely heavily on their information system, and some businesses cannot function without their information system. Example, banks. Example, any company, for that matter, let us just talk about Flipkart. All right. Can you imagine the massive investment Flipkart has made in terms of information systems? The type of capabilities it would have. So all of you might have used Flipkart at one point of time or the other, right? If you open your app, you can have a look at all your orders. Maybe you placed it 7 years back, 8 years back. Still that order history would be available on your account on the app. That is, there is an information system working behind it that is allowing it to collect, to process, those orders have been processed and store that information that yes, this order was processed for this particular customer. Okay. So most organizations, they rely heavily on their information system. And that is precisely the reason why companies lay so much focus on information system protection to protect themselves from cyber attacks, cyber thefts. Because if their information gets leaked, they are nothing without it. Correct? So these businesses, they cannot function without their information system. Example, banks. Your banks have your transaction history since when? You go and ask them for your transaction history, they'll provide it. You'll have to request it, give them some time, they'll provide it to you even for many years back. That is the type of dependency banks and other types of organizations have on information systems. Organizations require information system for a range of purposes. Primarily, they can be divided into two parts: supporting operations, supporting managerial activities. So supporting operations, what does it mean? 1 second. Yeah. So supporting operations, processing and recording transactions. Okay. So let's take an example of a simple, very basic trading firm. Let's say it is trading in potatoes. Now, all of the purchases and sales that it is making, it may be recording in an accounting software, right? So what is it? What is this allowing the company to do? It can collect the information, purchase, sales. Then it can process those transactions and record those transactions. All right. Example, as a legal requirement or information about profitability. For example, if you have to calculate the profitability of a company, you will need the records now to calculate that profitability. How would you do that? If you have the necessary information supporting it, how will a company calculate its profit? Sales minus cost. From where does it get the input for sales? From its sales transactions, which it would be recording in its sales register. Now, keeping it manual or keeping it automatic, that is different. But information system is providing you the capability to it. Okay, that you can communicate this to someone else, that this has been my sales, this has been my purchase. So processing and recording transactions, so information systems are useful for that. Then supporting managerial activities. What are the managerial activities? Key 4 activities. They came up here also, if you look. Managers use as a basis for planning, control, decision making, and measuring performance. Key 4 managerial activities, and remember it. Okay, if there is any question on information system, you can use it. So what are they? Planning, control, decision making, and performance measurement. Let's see what they mean. Planning, what do you mean by planning? Ever planned a trip somewhere? You would have planned maybe a trip to Goa, a trip to any place. You plan things now. What do you plan? How will I go? When will I go?
which all places I will visit there, you know, then what will be my expenditure, okay, where will I eat, all those small nitty-gritties you plan. Okay, planning means formulating ways of proceeding. That how would you proceed on the trip? So let's say you are planning a trip to Goa. So how would you proceed on that trip to Goa? Right? So that is number one. So when you are in business, you plan those things, right? What you are going to do in the year. How much are you going to do it? How are you going to achieve that much profit? So that is a part of planning. Number two is decision making. So I'll tell you, as I was saying now, like when you're working in corporates and you move up the corporate ladder, more of your time is consumed in decision making. You're no longer working in Excel files or something. When you go up, you're put in that pedestal where you have to take key decisions. Whether the company should spend its money on this project, whether it should do this marketing campaign. So those are the types of decisions which a person is supposed to do as he moves up in the managerial grade. So decision making means choosing between various alternatives. This and planning are virtually inseparable. Only if you plan that what you want to do again in this year, accordingly your decisions will be framed now. You can't take decisions and planning in isolation. They have to be together. What do you plan to do in the year, and your decisions should reflect it. So you decide to plan in the first place, and the plan you make is a collection of decisions. I'll do this, I'll do that. So maybe when I'm planning a trip to Goa, I'm planning to go by flight. Another alternative could be I could plan to go by train. I could plan to go by bus. I could plan to go by car. So there are 4 options available. Now I'm planning a trip. I have to decide on something so that my plan executes. So let's say I plan to go by flight. That is what? Decision making. I made a decision to execute my plan. Okay? So that is what even you do in businesses. You take a decision so that you can implement the plan. So maybe you plan to launch a new project of selling ice creams. So what all things you'll do? Which vendor will you decide on? What all criteria will you look at when you're deciding on that vendor? Okay, so that is decision making. Third is control. Control is used in the sense of monitoring something to keep it on course. Okay, so let's just talk in terms of trip of Goa. So you plan the trip to Goa and you plan to go by flight. Now, I just planned it. You would have seen memes also, Goa plans. How many of them get executed? Very limited. Because all of them they do not fall under purview of control. They just plan, they don't execute it. You decide also, we'll go by this, we'll go by that plane, and then we'll go to this beach, we'll go to this place to eat. So all of these things you decide and you plan. But when it comes to execution, things fall apart. That is what exactly happens in companies if you do not have control on your activities. Okay? So control is used in the sense of monitoring something to keep it on course. You monitor your Goa plan so that you are actually able to go. Like the controls of a car. You change your gear so that you remain on track. You don't go here and there. Not merely in the sense of imposing restraints or exercising power over something. Okay? You don't want to control things. You don't want to curtail things. You want to keep it on track. Okay? So I'll tell you, so currently, as I told you, I'm working in Flipkart. So I'm in business finance role. Okay? So I support the business of a particular segment of the company. Now, when I'm doing that, I have to make sure, so business might take some rational or irrational decisions. My role as a business finance partner is to ensure that they are in control of their activities, so that their activities convert into action which help them to achieve their plan for the year. So they might take irrational decisions and go off track. So my role as a business finance partner would be to ensure that they are following the right path and they're taking the right decision. So we give them that support, that capabilities
that metrics to review their proposals. That, you are thinking this in the wrong direction. Maybe you could look at from this particular viewpoint. So that is the role as, a finance person. You control that, yeah, this is the activity, this is how it should be, so that it remains on course. It doesn't go off. Very important 3 key terms: planning, decision making, and control. I hope you will remember it. Information systems are needed so that you can execute these 3. There are 4. One more is the performance measurement. Performance measurement is basically you have done something, how you're going to evaluate it, right? So measuring the performance of some activity. So these are the 4 key managerial activities, and information systems help you to perform these activities. Clear? So benefits of information system. See, we are studying a lot of things now. Now we are just getting into the groove of the content. You will have to remember, you don't need to memorize these slides. See, even when I'm talking to you, I'm giving you examples. Those are the types of things which will help you to retain things. Don't think that, there is so much content on the slide, now I need to start memorizing it. No, that is not even expected of you. You need to be conceptually clear. What is an information system? So I give an example of Flipkart's orders on your app, which is visible to you. That is being backed by an information system. Now, all of those order details, it is actually being used internally, right, for multiple purposes. So planning, decision making, control, performance measurement. So these are the 4 key managerial activities. Now, these key terms should be there in your mind, but you don't need to memorize. What is the definition of planning? Never will a question come like that. I'm telling you. What is the definition? No. They might give you a scenario where planning is applicable, and then they might ask you a multiple choice question on it. That is the type of question that you can expect. Okay. So yeah, I also create content for students of ACCA, whereby you get help on the tips and tricks which can help you succeed in your exam. So you can also check out my Instagram and YouTube profiles. I keep uploading these types of videos, these general tips and tricks which help you in the exam. So actually, I'll tell you, students study. I've always been lucky in terms of the students I've got. They are very hardworking. They dedicate themselves. Whereas just some of the students, they excel and some of them don't. There's the tips and strategies which you should be following to get things right in exam. So make sure you're not just studying, but you're also aware that you're preparing for an exam, which is a professional exam. So these tips and tricks, which I'll keep on sharing during the class as well, you need to be aware about it, right? So I go by the name of CA Anushka Jain. You can find the profiles, you can have a look. And, just keep yourself aware about these things. Okay, coming back, benefits of information. So the reason I told you now is that there is a lot of content in the slide. Now students might ask, ma'am, do I need to memorize it? No, you don't need to memorize it. You need to remember it, of course. But memorizing no information is now recognized as a valuable resource and key tool in the quest of competitive advantage. You need to remember that, yeah, it is important for competitive advantage. It is important that it brings speed in the system. So these are the things which you need to remember logically to help you, excel in exam. So benefits of information system. Information is now recognized as a valuable resource and a key tool in the quest for competitive advantage. Meaning to say, if you are having a capable information system, you get a competitive advantage. I'll tell you an example how that happens. How does information system give me competitive advantage? So, like giving an example of Flipkart now. When you are having so many customers, can you imagine the millions of customers Flipkart has? All of them are giving some, data to the app. What your purchase history is like, what your search history is like. So we have that capable information system which is able to process it and give good analytical insights which can be worked on and capable of monetizing it in some way. So this gives us a competitive advantage. How we are tracking our data, how we are using our information systems, how versus how Amazon is doing it. Correct? So That is where companies get competitive advantage if they are having a strong information system capability. All right. Second is easy access to information, the quality of that information, and speedy methods of exchanging information have become essential elements of business success. So if you have a strong information system, it will be speedy. You can get the desired information in few seconds. So that is definitely helpful for an organization to succeed. And third is organizations that make good use of information in decision making and which use new technologies to access, process, and exchange information are likely to be the best placed to survive in increasingly competitive world markets. Very complicated language. It's simple. What it is saying is make good use of information. So I'll tell you. I have mentioned that we are storing a lot of data, correct? We have your search preferences, what you purchase together. Maybe you are purchasing dal and rice together. So when some other customer is coming, you would have seen customers who bought this also purchased this. Those products they show you. What are they doing? They are using information. So maybe I purchased dal and rice together. Now you came to the app to purchase only dal on the app, for example. So the app will show you that customers frequently bought these together, dal and rice. We're giving you a very basic example. So you think, my rice is also going to go out of stock. Let's purchase rice also. So what is Flipkart doing in this process? It is making good use of that information. It is propelling its sales like that you get propelled to buy extra things, or maybe you are taking a better decision for yourself, right? So it helps the companies grow. Let's quickly read the examples for each one of them. So competitive advantage. For example, information on customers' preferences. What do I prefer? So let's say if you shop on Myntra, you would have seen that they give you size M is preferred for you. Size this is preferable for you. Even this asks you for whom have you purchased this. And then they create separate profiles. This product is suitable for Mr. X, for whom you might have shopped earlier. Imagine the type of competitive advantage it is giving you. They are suggesting you purchase size M or you purchase size 10 shoe. So for example, information on customers' preferences can help inform businesses on what to produce or how to sell it. Example online and so on. So you might have seen, actually you would have seen, so you are using Facebook, okay? And then you talk about something that, I'm thinking to buy this Redmi mobile phone this time. You open the app after a few hours, you'll start seeing ads. Have you ever experienced it? You'll start seeing ads for that particular brand's mobile phone. Has anyone experienced it? You're using some social media app, you just talk, or maybe you search for it somewhere else. You would have searched it on Google, but now Facebook will start showing you ads. It happens, right? How does it happen? There is in use of information system. They are using your search history. What did you search for? And I don't know how that speech thing happens, but it does happen that you're talking about it while the app is open, and it will record and start showing you suggestions for that. So I'll tell you a recent example. I purchased a very luxury watch recently. Okay. And then every time I'm opening LinkedIn recently, I'm seeing a more superior brand's watches ad coming up on my profile. Like every time for the last 1 week, 10 days, I've been seeing that happening. I did not search for watch on LinkedIn, but still it is showing me suggestions of that another superior brand of watch. That is the type of capability of information system these days. They track your data. Yes, very good part. That is data analytics. How it is being empowered through information systems. Their information systems are so strong that you are targeting your customers properly. They know that I purchased a watch recently, so they're targeting me. That you might actually find our watches also good. Okay. So that is the competitive advantage companies have if they have that strong capability of information systems. Example is speedy method. Next is speedy method. That information systems improve your speed of working. For example, A business that has timely information on how well a product is being received by customers can react quickly to ensure that inventory is sufficient and demand is met. Okay, so you would see that items, the stock of items, they get out of stock very soon on few websites, whereas the inventory is enough on some websites. How does it happen? Because the other website that is good at tracking the inventory. This event which happens on the e-commerce websites during festive September, October, you would have seen a big billion day sale or the Great Indian Festival on Amazon. There is months of planning which go behind planning the inventory consumption at that time. That how many earphones will get sold, how many mobiles, how many laptops will get sold. So that type of capability is there in the information system to predict how much inventory will be needed. And then this helps them to react quickly to ensure that inventory is sufficient and demand is okay. Organizations that make good use of information. How can you make good use? I have given you an example. Let's read another example here. For example, many taxi firms now take bookings via mobile phone app, Ola, Uber, which can report real-time locations and calculate prices in advance based on the current traffic conditions. Very basic. They are making good use of the information, and they're making use of the satellite information of the traffic on a particular road, and they suggest to you that this road is good for your travel. You can go ahead this route, and a live location of drivers for the cabs you book. This is the capability of information systems, and it helps you in performance management. So yes, information systems have a lot of advantages. Now we all understand that yes, information systems are advantageous. But do they come free of cost? Of course they don't. They have a lot of costs associated with it. So setup costs for a new system include hardware and software costs. Implementation costs. Hardware, software, of course, a lot of investment goes into information systems, right? Hardware, software cost, implementation cost. Implementation cost would be your, the engineers who are coming to install that information system. Then your maintenance, the day-to-day cost. Again, maintenance activity would be there, salaries, or the place where you are storing all of that information system, that warehouse where you could be actually storing that much information system. So many organizations invest large amounts of money in information system, but not always wisely. The unmanaged proliferation of IT is likely to lead to expensive mistakes. Proliferation means you're not the expansion. The unmanaged expansion of IT is likely to lead to expensive mistake because IT itself is very expensive to handle. Two key benefits of information system: the ability to share, connectivity, like we are connected to each other, so we are sharing information, and the avoidance of duplication are likely to be lost. Okay, so if you are seeking to get benefits out of information system and you do some expensive mistakes when it comes to managing it on a day-to-day basis, the benefits, they will just go away. The sharing information or avoidance of duplication, all of these benefits, they'll go away if you're not managing your information system properly. All IT expenditure should therefore require approval to ensure that it enhances rather than detracts from the overall information strategy. Okay. Basically, there are systems of approvals. Mostly, the professional accountants are involved in this. We pass the projects now that this particular project is approved, this is not. So as I told you, like I'm also in business finance roles. We have a lot of approvals coming to us. Can we spend on this campaign? Can we spend on this campaign? So that is the power given to us. We evaluate the projects whether it should be given the go ahead or not. Correct? So this approval mechanism, it ensures that the best ways to spend money on IT are being done. It's not like a wastage of money. So require approval to ensure that it enhances rather than detracts from the. So it enhances the capability of the information system. Effective budgeting may be required to keep costs under control, particularly the purchase of new equipment. An activity-based approach may be appropriate. So we'll be learning about these techniques in the syllabus. See, the first few 1-2 chapters now they're purely theoretical because they're laying down the foundation for the chapters to come. So these might seem a little monotonous. What is all of that? But I'm trying to help you with some examples. So I hope it keeps you interested. So your first few chapters are theory, but now they're laying down the foundation for budgeting. You'll be doing budgeting activity-based budgeting. That how much cost should be allocated on the basis of what are activities are needed in this process. Okay. So there are costs associated. So the summary of this slide is that there are costs associated with information systems and there needs to be a proper approval mechanism so that it is ensured that the best utilization of resources are done when it comes to money. You're not wasting money to, not manage your IT systems properly. Correct. Any doubts so far? You want to share some examples? Any doubts, anything? So we have discussed the advantages, the benefits, their examples, and the cost of information system. Is it fine? Okay, great. Let's move to the next slide. What are the types of information cost? So we understand that there are costs involved in information systems. What are these types? Very important topic from questions perspective. You might have to classify some types of cost into these headings. So make sure you understand it properly. Very, very important from exams perspective. The cost to an organization of the collection, processing, and production of information can be divided in 3 parts. What are those 3 parts? Direct data capture cost. Cost involved in capturing the data. We'll be having a lot of examples. Let's just first understand what these 3 are. Data capture cost, process cost, and indirect cost. Okay, so what is direct data capture cost? Example, when you go on to shop on a supermarket, have you now, like I'm talking about the big ones, not the small kirana stores, but the big supermarkets, you would see now, they use a barcode scanner. They just scan across the barcode on the product and the inventory is shown as sold for them. They don't actually physically write that, yeah, this is the product, this is the price, and then I need to move it out of the inventory also. So all of it is done automatically using that barcode scanner. What is that scanner doing? It is capturing the information that, yes, let's say you're buying a pack of Maggi noodles. It scans it. It says that this is Maggi noodles. It will actually it will retrieve the price for that Maggi noodles. It will put it on your invoice. And also, it will show as a negative line item in their inventory reports that this pack of noodles has been sold. Right? I'm sure all of you would have seen it, barcode readers. The use of barcoding and scanners, example in retail stores and manufacturing. So it is used in manufacturing concerns also to intake the inventory that this has been manufactured, scan it, it is now in your inventory. Okay. So this is a cost involved in capturing the data. Right? The data which is getting captured through this barcode is getting stored and then processed and blah, 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 whatever is happening. But you are spending on this barcode scanner now to capture the data. That is why it is classified as direct data capture. Clear? Next is use of OCR. That is optical character recognition to capture data from printed documents. So this is primarily used by banks. Okay, I'll tell you what happens. So you write a check, you sign on it, and then you hand it over to the bank, right? So if you're making payment to someone, you'll give it to them, and then that person hands it to the bank, they get the money. You know how the process works. When the check is deposited, it is scanned. The physical check does not even move. The check is scanned, its image is captured in the system, and then the checks are made, whether the date is correct, So I've done audits of banks, so I'm telling you from there. So the dates are checked, the sign is checked, the authentication, authentication gets checked through signature, whether there is sufficient balance in the bank of the payer's account. So all of those things get captured on the basis of the scanned image of a check. Okay, so that how does it get scanned? Using OCR, that is optical character recognition. Okay. Next is use of ICR. ICR is capturing data from handwritten documents. Okay, there would be handwritten notes. Now you would have seen, Google is doing it recently. You can scan your handwritten notes and it will translate it into text. Anyone used it? So Google has developed that capability that you scan your handwritten notes, it will translate it into proper text. It is reading your handwritten text. Yes, Rhythm has mentioned it. The Google Lens. You scan your documents, it will convert it into text. That is the type of capability that is being generated now. In fact, you would have seen now, you can even translate something. So if you scan a note which is written in Punjabi, you scan it, and if you click on translate, it will translate it for you. What is written in Punjabi may translate it to English, Hindi, whatever language you select. These are all the capabilities which have been developed, and maybe now you're using it using your phone, mobile phone, and your camera and the software which Google is providing. So this is currently free of cost for you. Mobile phone, of course, you have paid a price to purchase it. The software has come free. So again, if you were to classify it at what? It is a data capture cost. Now you're incurring some cost to capture the data. And which technology are you using? ICR. So OCR is for printed documents, which is normally written in text, computer text. If it is a handwritten document, the technology which scans it is known as ICR, Intelligent Character Recognition. Okay. Next, very important, and this terminology, RFID, it will come again and again in curriculum also. Use of RFID tags to identify, locate, and track. Okay, so it's a radio frequency identification. Let me see if I can show you a good video on it. Very interesting, and it's very important also. You'll see this topic coming again in the syllabus. Let me show you some video if I get it. 1 second. Yeah, it's a very small video I'm playing currently so that you understand what the technology is. Let me know if you can't hear or see, okay? I'm going to present it now.
RFID technology is everywhere. And today, Carestronics, with the help of Zebra's range of RFID products, are going to explain to you how using RFID can simplify and streamline your business. We begin our journey in clothing manufacturing. Rain RFID tags are attached to garments. These tags look like a standard tag, but hold a transmitter which helps to book stock in, speed up the stock take, and more. Now manufacturing is done and it's on to distribution. When stock is brought into the warehouse, there's no need to check in every item manually, as the fixed RFID antenna picks up the signals from the Rain RFID labels to confirm if the box you have received on the shipment is correct. This gives you more time for other jobs or even a cheeky tea break. You used to only have time to do a stock take once a year. If your items have Rain RFID labels, you can do a stock take once an hour, once a day, or as many times as you need. Ultra-high frequency RFID readers can detect up to 900 items per second and automatically log them into your computer system. Previously, you relied on looking up SKUs and working out how many of one size or color you had. Now, size, color and style can all be logged just by walking up and down an aisle. But don't worry, you don't have to be an expert to deploy your ultra
This one is a video of a company which is into RFID technology. I hope you got an idea of it. Let me explain to you again. So what does an RFID do? So there was a time when you used to tag, physically count your inventory, what all items are there, okay? Now what happens is these RFID tags, and there is a sensor. So I'll tell you how this technology works. For example, you are having a warehouse, a big warehouse. Let's say you have it for a cold drink company warehouse. So you have so many small SKUs, stock keeping units. You would have heard the term SKUs. So these are the small number of SKUs which you have in your inventory. You are putting it on a case-to-case basis and you are storing it. And that is a massive warehouse. Now imagine you are in charge of that warehouse. You are the warehouse manager. And you have to publish the stock of the materials in your warehouse on a daily basis. If you are not aware about a technology like that, RFID, what you would do? You will go with a paper, you go with a pen, and you'll start counting your inventory. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And every day, you'll be consuming so many hours in just doing it. Alright? But if you make use of RFID technology, which involves two key components, one is the scanner, which will be installed in the warehouse at necessary locations, and one will be RFID tags, which will be put on all the products. Okay, what will happen? So, for example, you put that RFID scanner on your warehouse gate. So when a product enters and there is an RFID tag attached to it, it's like pasted on it. When the product enters the gate, the scanner scans that this is the product which is entering in, and the scanner will send the information to its information system that this is the product which is incoming in the warehouse, recorded, and that means it has been a plus item in your inventory. Now, at the same time, on the exit door, if there is an RFID scanner attached and another product is moving out of your warehouse, that scanner will scan it using the tag. You would have used fast tags, no? What is that technology? It is RFID only. Radio frequency identification. When you cross that, your car gets scanned automatically. Do you do anything special? You just stand, your car just stands there, the scanner scans it, no? In that exact same way RFID works. It's just that these tags are placed on the products which are coming in, going out. Are you able to relate to it using that FASTag example I've given you? So FASTag also works on the same technology. There is a scanner on the toll booths. It scans your car. There is a tag attached on your car which gets scanned for FASTag. It scans it and it shows that this vehicle has gone past this toll booth, and whatever charges are there, toll charges, that gets deducted. In this way, in warehouses, the RFID scanner scans that yes, this particular item has come inside the warehouse, and this particular item has been scanned. It's in there. So whenever I have to take stock that what all things are there in my inventory, I'll have a real-time report that yes, these items are there in my inventory. I can sell it or I can process it further for manufacturing, whatever I want to do. But I have up-to-date information. Okay, that is just one example. So tracking vehicles also, I hope you understand now FASTag technology. So your scanners will keep on scanning where the car is traveling. We will put it on staff also. So for example, if you are in a very precious industry, like let's say like a jewelry company, and you want to keep a tab on your employees when they are working inside your showroom, you would to place an RFID tag on them, right? So that it is known to you that where the staff is going, so that there is no chance of theft or something like that. What is this technology doing? Capturing data. I hope all the 4 examples are clear to you. I've elaborated for you, like the barcode scanner in supermarkets, the OCR checks how they get captured, ICR Google Lens, and number 4 is RFID. RFID, I hope you understand with the reference to fast touch. Is it clear? Any doubt here? Can I move to the next slide? RFID and barcode scanning the same? No. You can say the technology working behind it is almost similar, but there is a proper barcode scanner which you keep in your hand and then you scan across each one of them. RFIDs, they are placed, like a CCTV camera, they are placed and they just scan the movement of goods on their own. You don't have to physically operate it. Okay, Parth? I hope it is clear. Ajay says, same as the technology available at the exit doors of a showroom, yeah? Lifestyle, etc. So if you are trying to steal something, you're buying, you're leaving the showroom without actually paying for it. The scanner, what does it do? It starts glaring up now that there is some product on this person which is not built. So there is a technology to scanning you. Okay. In that same way, the products in the warehouse get scanned. Very good example, Ajay. That's right. I hope this is clear, this slide. I'll move to the next one. If there is any doubt, just let me know. Okay, next is processing cost. So what are we studying? We are studying the 3 types of information cost. The first one was data capture cost, that we have covered. Next is process cost. Payroll department time spent on processing and analyzing personnel cost. So I'll give you one example. So a lot of companies, they have attendance devices that when you are entering in the company, you punch your thumb or you show your ID. So your time gets punched that you reach the office at this time on this date. Okay. So there are companies which keep track of this employees' attendance on the basis of their punch times. Alright. So that their technology cost will come under data capture cost. Now, the data is captured. Is the role of information system over? No. You'll have to process that data, then only it will become useful. Now, unprocessed data is useless. So you'll be processing that data. So you got the information about employee in time and out time using that attendance scanner. Then there will be some people who will be working on it to calculate the payroll cost, how much salary is to be paid to that person on the basis of their attendance. Or if there is a factory, how much wages are to be paid to the laborers on the basis of the logged in time. So that is the payroll department time spent on processing and analyzing personnel costs. I hope you understand. Data got captured, now it is being processed to calculate the payroll cost. Time for personnel to input data, example in relation to production on the management information system. So it's like you're using it further, your data capture devices captured something. Now you're using it to prepare some more reports. That is processing cost. Alright, time for personnel. Personnel meaning the staff who will be inputting this data which the data captured devices have captured and use it for further processing in terms of MIS, that is management information system. Next is indirect cost of producing information. What is the indirect cost? Example is very, very important. This topic is more important out of the entire slide. You collected some information, but you don't need it. Maybe I'll just give an example. So let's just talk about Flipkart for the timing. So you are purchasing few things. You thought about something. So like let's say you thought about purchasing a mobile phone, like we were talking about that Redmi mobile phone that you want to use. As Flipkart, I have captured that information. Okay. I'm not using it anywhere. I'm just capturing random information. I'm not even finding avenues to use it. Will there be cost associated with it? There is some technology working behind capturing that information. That is capturing, and I'm not even using it. That wastage which is happening now, wastage of information space, that is known as indirect cost of producing information. You captured something, but you're not using it further. Okay, so that is information collected but not needed. Collected something, but you're just collecting it without any intention, or maybe you collected it with some intention, but now that purpose is gone. So that is an indirect cost. You expended some money to get that information, but now you're no longer using it. Next, information stored long after it is needed. I'll tell you. So this is a common struggle of information systems cost. So much information is stored, and it is stored for years. Even after it has become redundant, companies keep on storing the data. So it involves cost, and that is known as indirect cost of producing information. You have produced information, but now there are some ancillary costs which are getting incurred. Okay. Third, information disseminated more widely than necessary. Okay. Do you know that? So all of you would be using WhatsApp. Have you realized WhatsApp has become so cluttered with so many companies messaging you about their offers, about even their order details? You know, some promotions are happening on WhatsApp. Are you aware about it? Have you seen it on your WhatsApp app? Correct? You keep on getting messages, right? They're getting really irritating, I'll tell you. So one day I was looking up for an internet service provider here. So I looked up just for it. I entered my phone number to look up. So basically, they were not showing the plans, the internet plans details without entering my mobile number. So just I entered the mobile phone number to view the broadband plan details. And I'm telling you, it has been more than a month since I did it. Every day I will get a message on my WhatsApp. Hi, this is Mr. XYZ. Are you interested in taking my broadband connection? It's become that type of irritating, right? So what is happening? Imagine, I'll tell you an idea. Any WhatsApp that is being sent to you now, these automated messages that you're getting, it involves cost. To give you context, let us say 50 paisa. 50 paisa for each message that is sent to you. And I hope you understand you're not the only one who is getting messages. There are crores of people in the country, and it gets sent to so many people. Alright. Now, that person, he is sending me messages again and again from different IDs. They would have taken different recognition names for their company. They are sending it. But are they sending to the right person? No. I've already conveyed that I do not want your product. So again sending me. That is what you collected information that yes, this person might be interested in my product. Now let's just keep on bothering them. Keep on messaging them. So you are disseminating, you're spreading information more widely than necessary. You should spend your resources properly. You got that information system. Your information system captured the data that this person could be a probable customer, but when they have conveyed it that they do not want it, should stop. Correct? And then another example of this point is maybe I should have sent, so let's say I'm a credit card company and I want to reach out to some customers that will take my credit card. I will reach out to people who are aged, let's say 18 and above, because for taking a credit card, you need to have some income now. I can't be sending out messages to young people. Now, people of the age of 12, 13, 14 they also have mobile phones. Now, if I'm sending out messages to take credit card to them, is it necessary? Will I even give them credit card even if they apply? I will not, because they will not have income source. So, I'm disseminating information and that involves cost. To whom you are sending information, that is also very important. Okay? That is information disseminated more widely than necessary. Number 4, collection of same information by more than one method. Okay. So I have some device to capture your spends history. Another device is also there which is capturing something else, but together with it, it is also capturing your purchase history. What is happening at my end? I'm spending on two devices which are giving me the same results. I am collecting same information by more than one method. It is a duplication also, right? Like you're spending way more than you should. That is an indirect cost of information. You're collecting multiple same information using multiple sources. And lastly, duplication of information. That you collected some information and you store it. Later on, some other person is also collecting that information and he is also storing it. So there is duplication of information, and that also involves cost because you're going to store it now. So these are the indirect costs of producing information and also the process cost. Please have a look at the slide and let me know if it is clear to you. If you have any doubts, just read it and let me know. If there is any doubt, let me know. If it is fine, then also just message me. If it's fine, we can move. All here, super. Then let's come to the next topic, and that is how can information be shared? Another very, very important topic in this chapter, how can information be shared? There are a lot of questions on this topic, so be very attentive now. So you are collecting a lot of information, but you need to use it, you need to process it. Therefore, you also need to share it. Now, how can information be shared? That is what's going to be covered now. Those how list. You have to share information, but how do you do it? So for that, let's read it. Communicating information is much easier when computers are connected to form a network. Now, please get back memories of your computer classes in school. You would have learned about these terms, network. What is a network of computers? So my computer is connected to the internet. Your computer is connected to the internet, and I'm sharing my information with you, right? So communicating information is much easier when computers are connected to form a network. So can you imagine? There are so many people who are attending the class now. All of them are connected to the network. So various forms of network can be formed. Global in the form of internet and local in the form of intranet. Wireless technology covered below facilitates mobile networking. A lot of terms have come up. Now we have detailed topics. What is a network? What is internet? What is intranet? All of that we are going to cover in detail now. Super important topic from this chapter. Alright. So what is a network? Computers which are connected and can send information together are networked. Very simple to understand. Like our computers are networked currently. This boosts efficiency and productivity, with some computers within the network dedicated to file storage, known as file servers. You would have heard now that each each company has a server room. You would have seen in movies where they show that the person who is trying to disrupt the functioning of a company, what do I say? I'm just forgetting the word. The person who has bad intentions, they just go and screw up their server room. So all the data which is stored there, it just vanishes. So when the computers are connected in a network, you could use some computer only for storage of information. Imagine, okay, the level of information which is there in big companies. Do you think just one small computer would be storing it? Like you would be having a 256 GB memory in your laptop. Do you think that much storage space will be sufficient for big companies? No. So they have dedicated server rooms also known as file servers. So all of that, data, they are also, like computers. All of that information, obviously, they do not have a display screen like your laptops would have, but they are also part of computers only. All that information is stored in there. So with some computers with a network dedicated to file storage known as file servers or other dedicated to dedicated services such as printing. So you would have seen now, those of you who have worked in offices, you would see that the office there is a common printer, and all of the computers they just print using that same printer. Obviously, the company will not give you separate printers for each of the person who is working in the company. So they give you a common printer, and that is dedicated to a lot of other computers on the network. So do you realize what is happening? A dedicated printer, a dedicated file storage. So this is how the network's efficiency can be improved, the productivity can be improved. Others could be charged with performing major number of crunching tasks. So some of the computers would be the brain where all the processing happens. These server computers are usually stored in a dedicated room in a secure location. You would normally see do not enter tag being put outside server rooms or processor rooms. Okay, so what are the benefits of networks? Resource sharing. Example, file sharing or sharing hardware such as a printer. Right, you are sharing the resources now. Can you imagine the type of cost implication it will have for a company if they start giving out printers to every person who is an employee? And also the space it will consume. So if you are using a network, that means you are connected. The printer is connected to your laptops. No? So it allows you to it allows you to share resources. You save a lot of cost, be it the cost of the resource or be it the cost of storage of the resource. Next benefit of a network is storage requirement reduction. Example, storing shared files on a central server. So obviously, if you are saving it on a central server, meaning what? So I'll tell you, we also use it, and those of you who are working, you will also understand. You will know that there is a common drive which all of the employees can access, and there is just let's say if you're working in an accounting firm, all the balance sheets and all the necessary compliance documents of that client is stored in that common drive. You can also access it, your manager can also access it, and your intern could also access it. Does it mean it is separately stored for each one of you? No. It is stored on a common drive. So I'll tell you another example. Same way, I told you now you will be getting access to your notes on a common drive. So what will the admin team at VGLD do? They will upload the notes which I am going to share with them on the common drive. You can access it. So let's say so many students are there. So Meet is accessing it, Gaurav is accessing it, Vinod is accessing it. So all of them can access that common drive. Did the admin team create multiple copies of that same file for each one of you? No. It just stored it centrally where all of the network computers are accessing it and taking it out for their consumption. Okay, so storage requirement reduction. So that definitely the storage gets saved. So you're saving it only just once. You're consuming the space only once. For example, storing shared files on a central server. So all the files which are for common consumption in offices, they are stored in a central location so that the storage cost is reduced. And lastly, software cost reduction. Example, single license on a central server. Anyone heard about Tally? Anyone heard about Tally software? Yes, all of you have heard. So you would know that you can take a multi-user license of Tally. You pay a subscription amount and you can attach up to, let's say, 12x number of licenses that I am purchasing the multi-user license and I have, let us say, 15 people working under me.
So what I'll do, I'll give them, each one of them, access to that same license. Tally will allow it to use. What is happening? If this capability was not there, then each of the 15 students who are working with me, they'll have to purchase their own license. Cost will increase. But if the computers are networked, so let us say the tally details are stored on a cloud software. You can access it, I can access it using the same credentials and the same license. Okay, so this leads to software cost reduction. So how is it happening? Because we are connected through a network. Okay, so just to give you one example now, software cost reduction. I'm taking classes sitting here in Bangalore. So let us say all of you were settled in Delhi. If now you're connecting through your own laptops, through your own internet connection, obviously the cost is multiple of that. Whatever number of students are there, multiplied with the cost per student, that is the total cost getting incurred. Your Wi-Fi cost, your laptop cost. But if there was a possibility that there is a center where my class will be broadcast using a satellite, and all of you can just sit there, attend the class, go back home. So that cost will get reduced now. You did not spend separately on Wi-Fi, you did not spend separately on your laptop. You saved cost because I shared it with one ID and all of you could just come in and use that same ID and watch the class there. That is exactly what happens in case of Tally, where I take one license and all of the other people who are under me, they just use it and do their work. Okay, so that is an example of software cost reduction. How is it getting possible? Through network. Please let me know if it is clear. Are you clear with what a network is? What is network? Connection between networks. Connection between computers. And what are the benefits? Resource sharing, storage requirement reduction, and storage software cost reduction. If you have any doubts, just let me know. If not, we'll move ahead. Okay, so I'll move ahead if you have any doubts. Just let me know. That was network. Next topic is intranet. So a cluster of computers can be networked together to form an organization-wide network. Okay, so I'll give you an example of this. So let's say as I'm working here in a company. So there are a lot of things which are just internal to the company. We don't want it to be exposed to the external world. Just for internal Flipkart consumption purposes, we are having all of that data. So what we'll do, we will put it on intranet. That data will be communicating to the different users through intranet. We'll not put it on internet because internet is accessible to all. So there is some confidential data which we do not want to disclose to the external world. So we are keeping it on intranet. Cluster of computers can be networked together. So again, it is a network of computers only. But it is for within the organization, intranet. Within the organization, the network of computers. The only people who have their ID, right, at the rate of Flipkart.com, only maybe they will be able to access it. At the rate of gmail.com, ID cannot come and access the data which is there on this platform. So organization-wide network. This is known as intranet and used to share information internally. Intranets are effectively private networks. Okay. So even I need to use connectivity, network connectivity to access the information which is available on intranet. But this information which I'm consuming is not available for all. Only if I have my domain as at the rate of Flipkart.com, I will be able to access that information. Okay. So potential applications include
Company newspapers, internal company newspapers are also published that what the company is doing. Induction material. So let's say you join our company and I want to tell you what the company does. Induction, I'm starting you off in the company, inducing. So inducting you. Now when I am doing that, I will be sharing some material with you. So that material you will be consuming internally only. It will be available on the internet. You'll not get it on internet. Online procedure and policy manuals, employee web pages. So there are a lot of web pages about eating outlets which are there in our campus. Will it be useful for you? What will you do by searching about what are the outlets available in Flipkart campus for eating? Not relevant for you. So it's just available on internal network, and on employee web pages where individuals post details of their activities and progress and internal databases of the corporate information. Whatever is relevant for the corporates, only that much is stored on this internet. Is it clear? Network, you understood now? Connection of computers. Now, when this connection of computers is restricted for internal to an organization, it is known as intranet. Very simple. Next is wireless technology. Historically, networks would have been physically connected via cables. You would have seen, at least I have seen when I was working as an article in my firm, there used to be cables which were used to connect the computers. Even that is used even now also because it provides a better connectivity than Wi-Fi. So, and there was a time when only cables were used, but now it's all Wi-Fi. Like I'm using Wi-Fi to connect to internet today. I'm not using any wire to connect to my internet. Correct? However, the development of portable computers and radio technology, Wi-Fi is a radio technology, it's there in the atmosphere, has led to wireless networks. That is Wi-Fi. Wireless technologies allow easier communication as Wi-Fi converts the internal signal into radio waves, which can then be picked up by devices, example, laptops and tablets containing a wireless adapter. My laptop has the capability to capture those radio waves which are there in the atmosphere and use it to convert it into a signal which is transmitting my information here, what I'm talking, how I'm looking, all of that is getting transmitted using these signals over the internet. Now, that is the wireless technology and it's known as Wi-Fi. I'm sure all of you know about this. Nothing more to talk about it. I hope it is clear. Any doubts? Wi-Fi? Any doubts? Great. Then let's move to the next slide. And then comes the internet. So the internet, I need not even explain this, very simple. We all are connected to the internet using that Wi-Fi technology. Okay. So don't get confused. So many net word is coming. Don't get confused. Network is what? Connection. That terminology denotes the connection between computers. Wireless technology is the technology to connect without cables. Then intranet we discussed, connection of computers or network of computers restricted within the organization. Now internet is what? Exposed to the entire world. So the internet is a global network connecting millions of computers. The internet is essentially a public network and hence allows communication with external stakeholders such as other businesses. Computers across the world communicate via telecommunication links and information can be exchanged through email or through accessing and entering via a website. So if you are using any website, facebook.com, Instagram or anything. So you are entering the data via website, google.com. So over 10% of sales in the second quarter of 2019 in the US were via e-commerce. So now it could have just boomed like anything. So this data is available of 2019. So 10% of the sales, they happen via online. That is internet. So today it has boomed a lot, much more than that. That is the significance of internet, I would say. So internet here, internet is for the entire globe. Intranet is the network for within the organization. Network, we know, connection of computers. Now, how that connection is being done, if it is through wireless technology, we can call it as Wi-Fi, correct? And then next is, let me see if it is there. Yeah. Next is extranet. So extranet is what? It is an extension of intranet. Don't get consumed that extranet and internet is same. Extranet is, so I told you, like within Flipkart, we have some relevant documents which are only for Flipkart. So we are putting it across on the intranet. Now there are some data which I want to share with my suppliers. People, the sellers who are selling their products on the Flipkart app. I want to share some data with them also. So what I will do, I will open my network which contains the information only for relevant for those sellers, and I will provide a link to those sellers to access that information. So what I'm doing, I'm opening up the organization-wide network, a little, whatever is necessary for the suppliers, for the sellers on the platform. That is an extension of intranet. Okay, so an extranet is the form of intranet that authorized parties outside of the organization. Okay, so sellers who are sitting outside of the organization can access using a username and password. They are a useful means for business partners to share information. So if I want to share some information with the sellers, I can use extranet. I don't need to put it on the internet for them to access. I can just open up my intranet for the information which is relevant for suppliers or sellers and put out a link to them where they can access it using their user ID and password. I'll give you an example of why it would be needed. So there are a lot of transactions which happen between your company and those sellers. Okay, the buy-sell transactions are happening. Now, you don't want to physically share files with your sellers all the time. That every month, I'll be sharing physical files to you for doing a reconciliation between the transactions. You know, what is being recorded at my end versus what is being recorded at their end. So what you are doing, you are keeping a line open for them that whenever they want to see what all transactions have happened on Flipkart for them, they can view it directly by providing their user ID and password. So in this way, they do not have to wait for the month to end. They can just access whatever information is available to them at the live level. Okay, so that is the objective and purpose of extranet. Is it clear? Any doubt between internet, intranet, or extranet? Network, wireless technology. 5 terms we have covered so far. Any doubts? People normally tend to get confused between extranet and intranet. I hope with the examples I've given you, it is clear. Internet is what we are using currently. The link is available, and those who have access to the internet are able to join it. Extranet is not something we can develop very easily. It is developed at an organization level. Intranet is developed and then it is extended for the relevant people, authorized for parties outside the organization. Please take a moment and confirm. Then I'll explain to you about cloud computing. Here? Okay. Then
imagine you're the owner of a small
let's do the next topic. Before we start it off, I want you to see a small video on cloud computing. Okay. Let me present it. I'm going to start playing it now. Let me know if you can't see or hear. Okay.
Imagine you're the owner of a small software development firm and you want to scale your business up. However, a small team size, the unpredictability of demand, and limited resources are roadblocks for this expansion. That's when you hear about cloud computing. But before investing money into it, you decide to draw up the difference. Imagine you're the owner of a small software development firm and you want to scale your business up. However, a small team size, the unpredictability of demand, and limited resources are roadblocks for this expansion. That's when you hear about cloud computing. But before investing money into it, you decide to draw up the differences between on-premise and cloud-based computing to make a better decision. When it comes to scalability, you pay more for an on-premise setup and get lesser options too. Once you've scaled up, it is difficult to scale down and often leads to heavy losses in terms of infrastructure and maintenance costs. Cloud computing, on the other hand, allows you to pay only for how much you use, with much easier and faster provisions for scaling up or down. Next, let's talk about server storage. On-premise systems need a lot of space for their servers, notwithstanding the power and maintenance hassles that come with them. On the other hand, cloud computing solutions are offered by cloud service providers who manage and maintain the servers, saving you both money and space. Then we have data security. On-premise systems offer less data security, thanks to a complicated combination of physical and traditional IT security measures, whereas cloud computing systems offer much better security and lets you avoid having to constantly monitor and manage security protocols. In the event that a data loss does occur, the chance for data recovery with on-premise setups are very small. In contrast, cloud computing systems have robust disaster recovery measures in place to ensure faster and easier data recovery. Finally, we have maintenance. On-premises systems also require additional teams for hardware and software maintenance, loading up the costs by a considerable degree. Cloud computing systems, on the other hand, are maintained by the cloud service providers, reducing your costs and resource allocation substantially. So now, thinking that cloud computing is a better option, you decide to take a closer look at what exactly cloud computing is. Cloud computing refers to the delivery of on-demand computing services over the internet on a pay-as-you-go basis. In simpler words, rather than managing files and services on a local storage device, you'll be doing the same over the internet in a cost-efficient manner. Cloud computing has two types of models: deployment model and service model. There are three types of deployment models: public, private, and hybrid cloud. Imagine you're traveling to work. You've got three options to choose from. One, you have buses, which represent public clouds. In this case, the cloud infrastructure is available to the public over the internet. These are owned by cloud service providers. Two, then you have the option of using your own car. This represents the private cloud. With the private cloud, the cloud infrastructure is exclusively operated by a single organization. This can be managed by the organization or a third party. And finally, you have the option to hail a cab. This represents the hybrid cloud. A hybrid cloud is a combination of the functionalities of both public and private clouds. Next, let's have a look at the service models. There are three major service models available.
That's a very in-depth video. We don't need to go about it in as much time as it is covering. But I hope you got an idea of cloud computing. It is basically not having an on-site storage, rather storing it on an external place which you are not even aware of. So like if all of you are using Google Drives, do you know where that location is where your files are stored? No, you just have a link to access your files, right? It may be stored in America, it may be stored in Dubai, just whatever. You don't know it, but it is there, out there. So that is the cloud computing. You are saving your data on the cloud. This is the provision of computing services, generally applications and data centers over a network using usually the internet. Google is one of the most prominent companies offering software as a free online service. So I'm not sure if you use it or not. Google Photos, all the photos which you take on your phone, it gets backed up there.
So you change your phone. You do not have to manually transfer your photos to that new phone. It will get, if you sync your Google account, all your photos, they just come in there. But now they've started charging for it. Initially, it was free. Now they have given a certain limit, I think 15 GB or 25 GB, beyond which they are now you have to pay to get the subscription to save the data beyond that limit. So it just shows that your data is getting stored at a place which you're not even aware about. It's not on site. Are you storing it on your hard drive or somewhere? No, you don't even know. It's just stored on Google Photos. The location, physical location of the data site, you might even know. Okay, so Google is one of the most prominent companies offering software as a free online service. Software and storage for your account will exist on the services computer cloud, Google's computer, rather than on your computer. A cloud can be public or private. So you might take a private cloud if you want. So there are companies which offer private cloud facility. Obviously, it will be expensive, and the cloud can be public also, which you can access, which can be accessed by everyone. The main benefits of a cloud computing contract include the reduced IT costs. All of that got covered in the video also. Reduced IT costs, software and hardware upgrades may be included in the contract, which means that there is no need for expert staff, because the cloud will be maintained by the service provider. It is maintained by Google, for example. So you do not need to have professionally trained staff to handle the storage of data. It is safe. Example, backups stored in the cloud help to support business continuity plans. For example, you are storing all of your data on site where your company is. There is a room, a server room where all the data is getting stored. Let's say one day the building catches fire. All of your data will just go in flames. But if you are backing up the data on cloud, then just because the building has gone ablaze, it doesn't mean the data which you have stored on cloud will also get ablaze, right? It will be there. So it ensures business continuity. It's a BCP plan, business continuity plan. Okay, because it is providing you safe storage, unchanged or unmoved by what is happening to the physical data, because you have backed it up online. Improved access. So I'll tell you, like all my files, all the texts which I use, I put it on my Google Drive. So I can access it on my laptop. I can even access it on my phone. So that type of capability is there because the information is all available on OneDrive by Google. So I can access it on my phone also. That provides improved access. Be it I'm sitting in Bangalore, if I'm sitting in Guwahati, if I'm sitting in Delhi, anywhere, I can access my information. For example, file sharing of records with accountants or access for staff working from home. How did people work from home during COVID times? They were using the data from cloud. Okay, so these are the benefits of a cloud computing contract. Please let me know if it is clear. Any doubt on cloud computing? Rhythm is clear. Others? All clear? Okay, great. Then let's pause our class here for the day. All right, and we'll catch up again. There are a few slides left from this particular chapter, which we see. Some slides are left, so it will take some time. Let's meet up tomorrow again and continue our discussion on this chapter. Okay. So I hope all of you are able to follow the classes properly. If there is anything, any topic which you wanted to discuss again, feel free. We keep the class two ways, not just one way, that I'm talking and you're listening. If you have some concerns, you can always point it out. Okay. Yes, same time, Varun, same time, 10 o'clock, we'll meet up, and till 2:30 normally we keep our class. Okay. Thank you so much for joining the class today. We'll catch up tomorrow. Bye-bye. Take care. Thank you.